Welcome, Pathfinders, to the Find the Path podcast actual play of the Mummy's Mask Adventure Path. After Party 74.
We made it.
Yeah,
y'all made it.
Somebody did something live.
We did a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We did. So, I am your host and game master, Rick Sandidge, in case you've never seen my face before and only know me from audio, which is possible.
If this is your first live event, yeah.
It's true. I am joined by Jessica Jenkins, Jordan Jenkins,
Heyo.
Heather Allen,
Hello.
Rachel Sandidge, and special guest co-host and moderator, as well as a periodic special guest on our Beta Tells and Faded Tells, Ross Scoggin.
Hello.
Man, goodness.
I got a lot of honorifics there for some reason.
I was going to say, you got the longest intro of all of
Ross
us.
is a man of many titles.
Human Resources Director of the Find the Path Ventures.
Yep.
Surprisingly not evil? Like, that's weird.
That's why we put the paladin in charge.
Oh, God.
I guess to jump into things, this might sound a little bit different than what we normally do, and that is because this is being recorded live in front of a live Twitch audience.
Yeah, it is.
Which is not something that we've ever done before for anything in the Mummy's Mask podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys will get to hear the unfiltered, uncut Mummy's Mask experience. And by that I mean I've got to
try not to swear.
Move a cat off my desk.
Yeah, there is also a cat above here.
That's
if
true,
you can
yes.
see him, that is Mr. Kenway.
We're going to be playing a small game of Find the Path Cats.
Mike is asleep on the
Find
the
the
but I
cat.
don't know if y'all can see him in the background.
He's
I
a
think
black cat
I'm
on
in
a
the
black
way.
thing, so yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to jump into things, this is our final after party. This is the final episode, if you will, of the Mummy's Mask podcast. After 4.5 years of battling against mummies and desert creatures and all the rest of that stuff, it has finally come down to this. So, I suppose in standard tradition, let's go ahead and jump back into things. We usually start with the recap. So, we had episode 220 and 221, which was basically just the two-part fight with Hakatep.
That jerk.
That was an interesting combat.
It was a frustrating one, to say the least.
Yeah, there are words that Rick won't let me say, so you know.
It's true. I cannot.
You can say them. You just will get
This
swing.
is live. I would ask you. I cannot
swing.
edit you.
You can say whatever you want to say in your head. Just say schwing instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not
true.
gonna work. But okay.
Yep.
Anyway, he's words. Swing. Lots of swingy words.
Swing, swing.
Yeah, the most interesting part about it is for all the kind of build up to him as like, this master of the elements and like somebody who, has done a lot of deals with outsiders and stuff. No outsiders.
Yeah, there were a
And
couple
he has
of
no knowledge of the planes, so
Also that, which was weird.
I mean, I guess Chisisek did all the summoning. I don't know.
But he didn't. We know he didn't. He did summon those two lightning boys.
Yeah, he summoned some elder elementals and all the rest of that.
He could have been using scrolls and stuff, I guess. I don't know.
He wasn't.
I was really happy he had
summoned
lightning
himself,
boys
but-
because that fight was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a long, interesting fight. It's always the interesting thing with a final boss fight, where there's so much build up going into it that usually it goes one of two ways. I think we mentioned this in the after party just before we did this, that it's either done and over in 3 rounds or goes on forever. And this was a little bit of the latter case in that his defenses were on point. Doing damage to all of you was rather difficult considering 2's immunity to every element, literally.
I'm so
Masika's,
glad
at the
I
very
summoned
least,
him. Oh my god.
Yeah. Masika
we love him.
and Hollis's protections, Hollis's ability to absorb any element using her abjurer powers, Masika's elemental resistances from being a dragon, and the evasion
Rawr.
abilities of a monk and a rogue made that a rather interesting fight.
I think it was a worthy investment to get all of those scrolls of invisibility.
Always.
Yep.
Yeah. So it did make for an interesting encounter as it went on for a bit. there were some points that a bit two full-length episodes. There were a couple of points that I'd wished I'd done a little differently in that fight. In large part, like the summoning the elementals didn't necessarily help as much. To be perfectly honest, once his defenses were dispelled, that would have probably been the best time to pull out the scroll and time stop and reset. But it did get into being able to utilize a lot of abilities because of his prior knowledge of you, since he did possess all of the knowledge that Seraphet possessed from her battle with you.
That's
so,
true.
Knowing Citra's abilities, being able to do an elemental body, it was once that elemental body was off, once his defenses were down from that greater dispel magic, that was probably what sealed the deal for that fight in 221. And, Citra got the final blow.
It was fun being a dragon.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Masika was having a good time.
My biggest regret is that I wasn't a dragon with you. We could have been like best friend dragons. And
I just
There
think
would
it's
have been
funny
no room
that
in there.
dragons can fly, but it was so cruddy. Masika was just like, no, I'm using my own hex to fly because these dragon wings are dumb.
Which one is
definitely
Jimmy and which one's
underrated
Jimmy,
double
though?
dragons reference there.
It'd be so cute. Then you just be a dragon as long as you can, because if you could be a dragon, why would you be anything else?
Because you need to go through a small door.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's like,
Just make a
You
bigger
can do
door.
That's probably the only reason.
you just break the
Make a
door.
bigger
It's
door.
fine.
So yeah, you guys had a heck of a fight in episode 220 and 221, and then following that brought us to our finale, the grand end, which the first half of it was kind of the wrap up of the adventure as written.
We didn't even bother to check what Hakatep had because we weren't going to take it anyway. We were just like, okay.
Feels like trouble
it's
doing that.
done.
To be fair, half of his stuff could have been cursed for all we know.
Yeah, you're not going to just sit there and like loot his body or anything, because again, at that point, it's you guys are so far along. I think for a lot of groups, when they're going through book 6, and they're going through the last push, they will go ahead and write down all of the treasure in the, will this be something useful for me to survive to get to the final boss?
Well, and then, Sudi and Masika need money to rebuild their little towns.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I need money to build my demi-plane that I will live in forever.
To be fair,
But
I've looked that up.
is-
That's very expensive to do.
Yeah,
very
that
expensive.
is one of the things that I think happens a lot with book 6, where you reach the end of it and it's like, does everyone want to do the bookkeeping one last time to upgrade your gear and all the rest of that stuff to have
Yeah.
your final thing? Or do you just want to assume I'm going to sell all of the rest of this and this is my character's retirement fund
Yeah, pretty
from
much.
Yeah.
everything from book 6?
We're still very young. I don't know if we're
Yeah,
retiring, but
about to
certainly,
say.
Well, to be fair, in Golarion, selling off one ring, 1+5 ring of protection will give you comfortable living for the next 400 years as far as your elf is concerned. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
true.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think about the fact that you're wearing a complete fortune by the time you're like 16th level. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you are
I could bankrupt
literally
a small
wearing.
town.
Yeah, you can literally bankrupt towns if you went in and just sold all your stuff.
Yeah.
Masika's going to bankroll a town, not bankrupt it.
I'm gonna save all the children, so
I have a long list of 9th level spells that Hollis needs to buy and scribe,
And then subsequently cast.
and then subsequently go down to 8th level, and then so on until I have like every spell.
Yeah. So,
See that?
yeah, you guys, going
No, I was going to make a silly comment. Don't worry about it.
Ah, fair enough.
It was mild spoilers for a different AP, so I was like, maybe don't
yes.
say that. Yeah.
We are going to do our best to not really talk about the other, the Hell's Rebels or Tyrant's Grasp actual plays.
Which will be
Since
hard.
we don't know
do
where
like to
everyone
reference
is
them.
on each of them. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is Mummy's Mask / questions.
Yeah.
And this is live,
Because
so we
usually
can't
we
just
make
cut it
those
out.
comments and then I
Yeah.
could cut it out, but I guess I still could. But for the people here in the audience in the chat room and everything else, you guys would be in the know.
No, Rick, just learn time travel and then go back in time later
Yeah,
and stop
come
us from
on.
saying it.
He shows up
I'm
behind
sorry,
us,
that's
just
what I
karate chops us in the neck. Except Rachel.
yeah,
Except for
except
it.
me, because that would
Here
be
comes
extra
Rick
painful.
with the steel chair. I don't know.
So
Yes.
yeah, you guys then got to do, your finale, the last send-off. I decided to go ahead and just do one scene with each of the characters individually to kind of encapsulate, not necessarily show where they will be as far as, the distant future and what they have in store for them, but more where they are going. Instead of showing Sudi as a, jump forward 50 years in the future, and Sudi's the old cat on the mountain, still training people and everything. It's like
still looking like he's 16 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Heather brought up an
You
idea
chose
which I
your
thought
path.
would have been interesting, which would have been basically advancing all the characters to second edition.
Yeah, I
Like
thought it was
jumping
going to be
forward.
and the thing was going to be it's 2022 or it's 4022. What's everybody been up to? Type situation.
Yeah.
So
No one wants 2022 in Golarion.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Then we have to justify why we didn't do anything about some stuff happening in the
That's
world.
fair, yeah,
and
that's fair.
That's
Yeah.
hard.
That's the classic, yeah. None of my concern. But yeah, did a chance to kind of like establish each one of your characters and what you guys were doing afterwards. And I always like to end things where they began. I like the full circle approach to it. And so I knew from the get-go that I would bring everything back around to Wati eventually.
Nice.
Because it ties a nice bow in it to end it with Sudi walking down the steps of the temple covered in rope and a respectable amount of rope out.
He's
just
learned
to come back.
self-control
Yeah.
of the amount of rope that he carries.
It gets into a little bit of that. Trust me, I don't necessarily adhere to the idea of it, to be perfectly honest. A lot of people use it as a ham-fisted way to shove everything together, but it gets back to the monomyth idea of, you start with the characters in, the regular world, and then they go on a journey into the fantastic world, and then they return back at the end, changed back to the regular world, which is much basically what happened to your characters to go full
I don't
circle.
know.
Yeah.
You can never go back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the classic adage of you can never go home again. It's always going to be different, and your characters by their nature are different. And so Sudi isn't the street rat afraid of being intimidated or caught by the Viper. It's like I could probably take the Viper in a stand-up fight now.
Especially if
I don't
he's
know.
dead.
After having seen
Is the
him,
Viper dead? That's
He
my
could
question.
he could
it
assassinate
seems like
What happened to him?
Yeah, it seems like his son and Wolf are gonna go shank him. And I almost winked. I caught myself. Anyway.
Good job,
job, Heather. Good
We're
job.
so proud.
You're a point for you.
You're a point for
I
Heather.
It only
But I
took 4.5
can't.
years, y'all. 4.5 years.
So, yeah, but the idea that each of your characters have returned back and you're now like changed for the better in most of your cases.
Who
this
was
is
changed
this
for
is
the worst?
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
Sudi's
I
still
could
missing
make
that
an-
eye.
Well, I could make an argument of whether or not it's going to be for the better for everyone in the grand scheme of things, where it's like Masika and Citra's lives obviously been improved with the return of their loved ones. In the case again of Masika, however, like I think Sudi could have just had as much of a claim to trying to get a resurrection artifact for his adoptive father, who did not die of old age. He died of alcoholism.
Yep.
So like that could have been a different thing, or feasibly maybe he eventually goes to Masika and goes, "Hey, would you mind, bringing this person back for me?" And
You got
Also
godlike
give me another
powers.
eye.
Can do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Masika can do that.
yeah, and all the other various, the losses that you experienced along the way, because it was a trying ordeal for all of your characters. But I was very happy with the way that ended in the whole, and judging from the response that I've seen on our social medias, it seems like a lot of people were very happy with the way that ended. It's always a challenge. I try my best not to overanalyze things when I'm going through it, but if there is something that makes me nervous, it's sticking the landing on a finale. Because not just necessarily for the podcast, because obviously we've never finished an adventure path for the podcast before.
It's true.
But having
I
finished
wasn't
numerous,
worried because you finished all of our home APs very well. So
I know, but even then, like, I'm sure Ross and Jordan both can attest to this, having done home APs and all the rest of this for us. And I know that Jessica's done APs. I haven't been a part of them. But
I'm bad
finishing
at endings.
AP, well, that's the challenge. It's always like, you don't want to just go the, it's like, okay, so you beat the main bad guy and then you walk out of there and,
everybody meets up at the bar. We clink our glasses. Scene.
Yeah, and just end it with like, you return back to town, you sell off your loot, the end.
Yeah.
Slow motion,
All right, bye, guys,
high
for all
five.
the fish.
See you later. No, what you do is you just play another AP back to back with the same characters, and then it's never really the end.
The first,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
the first 5 books are a cakewalk,
That's
but
why.
it's fine.
Everybody reset back to level 1. We're doing an isekai or whatever, like
Oh,
reincarnation story with these characters.
Oh no.
We've been sucked into another magical world. It looks shockingly like this one.
As part of the reason I didn't end up going with the concluding the adventure section in Mummy's Mask, because I always like to make it a little bit more personalized, and I know that those are just kind of a general, like, here's some fun things for concluding the adventure. Because as written, it even states in here, what do we have here? Wouldn't be a after party if I wasn't reading from one of the books at one point.
Fair.
With Hakatep finally sent to the afterlife, the PCs have completed their quest. Both the Sky Pharaoh himself and the Cult of the Forgotten Pharaoh, who sought to return him to life, are no more, and Osirian is safe from the threat they represented. There might be portions of the pyramid that the PCs bypass on their way to accomplish their ultimate mission, and they might wish to return to those places to make certain that all the dangers are bested and treasures are claimed. Just a small aside on that, I would always avoid that anyway, because once you've beaten the big boss, having to do a couple extra encounters against, regular Joe Schmoes,
I don't
is
know
just
if
kinda
we
disappointing.
missed any areas in the pyramid, though. We were pretty thorough.
No.
I thought so.
Yeah.
But,
To be fair, I could have been okay with it because I had a bunch of spells I couldn't use on Hakatep after he turned my meteor swarm back on me, so I would have been happy to just
as a fun
use some
side
more
note, he did
spells.
not actually turn your meteor swarm back on you.
Oh, good.
but,
That's how it felt, and I'm glad that was wrong.
Oh, no, he absorbed all of that with a protection from energy because it gave him 120 hit points to absorb it. And he just happened to cast
And then he
Meteor
just
Swarm.
had meteor swarm. Okay,
Yeah,
that
that
makes
was his
me
ninth
feel
level
much
spell.
better because I
I
was
would have
very
much rather if he had
confused.
Time Stop as his 9th level spell, but that's notwithstanding.
That would've been
You
horrible.
always
man.
want them to have time stop, Rick.
I do, but it goes on to
It's a
say
great
that
spell.
many historians and archaeologists will be anxious to explore the interior of the Sky Pharaoh's
No.
legendary burial monuments. But basically, the 15 unexplored flying pyramids now lie grounded across Osirian. Many fortune hunters would leap at the opportunity to brave these other monuments, but the heroes who vanquished the Sky Pharaoh are given the right of first refusal. Several of the pyramids are described in a separate section of this book. The Ruby Prince himself wishes to meet with the party and lavish praise and honors upon them at his palace in Sothis. Kemet III could have further use for the PC's ample skills, perhaps of more political nature, or perhaps having to deal with threats that his seers have warned that emanate from the dark tapestry. Having already tasted the terrors of those cold spaces, the PCs are now prepared to confront forces that threaten not only Osirian, but all of Golarion.
I think we do get together and do a roundup of pyramids just to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
I'd kind of thought I was
Honestly,
like, Sudi should get together some
Get
guys
some
and go do that.
stone-shaped spells and make sure that the freaking doors
Just
are all sealed.
seal that up.
We're just gonna
Yeah.
seal that shut. Moving on.
And
Well,
then-
we
Yeah.
go in there and make sure all the undead are put down, and then we can
Yeah.
seal the things and move along.
Let's
Yeah,
not
but I
mess
didn't
with
wanna
the
bring
other
in, like,
pyramids.
I considered it for a little bit, and I decided I would much rather do the small-scale Sebti and everyone back in Wati rather than bring in Kemet III, whom you had no relationship with,
yeah.
Yeah.
to suddenly just,
The only reason he
End
even
of-
knows we exist is because of Mama Nafra. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
a whole, like, let's put the medals on everyone,
The
play
Star
the-
Wars ending.
Yeah.
All
Just
of
everyone gets a
episode
medal.
Oh
four.
god, Sudi's Chewbacca. Ugh.
except for Sudi.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
But Sudi deserves a medal.
So yeah, I guess my suggestion for any game masters listening out there is you always want to personalize the ending. And there was a lot of the continuing the adventure path as a fun side. Actually, I'll go ahead and announce this here because it will never happen. It was just a interesting thing I wanted to tease, and I considered even teasing in the finale, but decided not to. that during the course of the adventure path, you'd learn that Hakatep had often spoken with a powerful sphinx known as an elder sphinx.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
go
That
meet
had
him.
taught him a great deal of his information. You saw a flashback
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Sphinx statue in front of the Temple of Nethys where you guys returned where Nahamra was.
What?
I considered having a last moment thing where it's like, you all celebrate, and then it cuts the camera over to there, and then it's like cracking and breaking free because it's part of the continuing the adventure that
Oh man.
he's a challenge rating 20 Mythic 6.
I
Oh.
just want to be
Sphinx.
friends
Just
with
like-
him, though. I don't want to fight him.
Oh, his
Just
artwork is amazing.
teach
It's like a
us-
sphinx
teach us
rearing
ways.
up, shooting laser
Stay
beams out of the
asleep.
palm of his
It's
paw.
fine.
Oh man.
That does
Yeah,
sound pretty
so-
cool, but yeah.
I considered teasing that, but then I also didn't want to, leave off with a teaser for something that we
Would never do.
probably would never
Yeah.
get to
Yeah.
because we have so many
Fair.
other projects to do. And so,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's true.
man.
but if you're doing this for your home game and you wanted to do something like that, then, that's a great way. Minkari's, God, his section is literally entitled Vengeance from the First Age. Where he just wakes up and goes, I liked that Hakatep dude. Blast you with lasers.
Ah.
But I liked this guy. I think you flip that. He becomes a guy who's like, you want to train with me? And it's like a training montage type adventure where he makes you prove your worth and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Sudi'd
did
be
any
down
of the
for that.
pyramids land on the cities? That's the one thing I need to know.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It's a good question.
So, canonically, for Find the Path, no.
Okay.
Yes.
Outside
Yes.
of that, in I believe in the second edition World
Like in
Guide, it states
Paizo's
that one of them
version?
actually landed in Sothis.
Oh.
Well, that's
Oh,
good that
okay.
in the Find the Path universe.
The
We are
Find the
more
Path would have
Find the
landed
Pathverse.
just outside of Sothis. Like
The
Hey,
only
you
way
did
that
better
I
than
can
crashed
canonical
down.
Find the Path.
one corner of that pyramid is just peeking below the edge of that chicken coop that you landed in that one time. That's
Yeah.
that's how close it came.
So
my chickens.
only Wati's Dead City got crushed. So hey, we did good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Sugar's
Okay,
like,
good.
oh
Well, if you want
my.
to play in
You
our
did
version
good.
of Osiria, you're welcome to.
Yes, the pyramids missed
Yeah.
all the cities. Nobody died from
Well,
the
people
frickin'
died probably,
from
but
the
not
flying
our
pyramids
version.
landing on them. At
Only people in
I've
the
least.
heard
pyramid
that
died.
comment. I've heard that comment a couple of times from people, and I do consider it almost the highest form of praise, where people say that they have no intention of running Mummy's Mask, and therefore our playthrough of Mummy's Mask is the canonical playthrough in their setting.
Oh,
It's
how
like that's
nice.
actually that's a
Nice.
very high
Yay.
praise. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there was somebody who reached out to me and asked what Hollis would lecture about if she was doing a guest lecture at the Magambia University. And I was like, I don't know. And I gave like a list of things, but I was like, that's fun. I bet she would do that.
Yeah, like someone running through
would.
Strength of Thousands and just going, it's like, that'd be
Yeah.
really neat
Yeah.
if Hollis was doing a guest lecture
Oh,
here.
it's on her. It was on her.
Awesome. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that brings us to our general. That was the end.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was
Yeah.
the end.
222 episodes.
The ending of a story. Yep.
At least somewhere probably in the neighborhood of 400 hours pre-edit that we recorded on this. Far longer than any other adventure path that we've ever done before.
I was
So
gonna say,
that
'cause
was,
we started just after we got married.
The podcast is
Yeah.
as old as your wedding or your marriage.
As old as our marriage.
It makes it really easy to remember anniversaries.
There you go.
Well, yeah, it's that. I guess opening the doors there. It's like there's so many Jess and Jordan for how many episodes didn't have the same last name.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we got married
You know,
during.
for
We got
Early
married
on
twice in the middle,
things.
in between of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all did.
We started in person for the first Masika's introduction to the podcast was
Yeah.
still in person before
Yeah.
we did the last more than half of the adventure path. During the whole COVID times, there are so many points in my own life that I can look at this and I can go, I can remember what was going on in the podcast while I was dealing with this thing. Rachel and I moving to a new house happened
Yeah.
twice actually during
Yeah,
the
twice. I was about to say.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah.
so to two different houses, and
I
was
was recording this podcast while I was going to college.
you're
Yeah.
going to college, and you graduated while this is going on,
Yep.
you know.
Let me tell you, doing this podcast and studying radiology and taking a registry at the same time, some days I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, I did that too, and then didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I can agree with her. It ain't easy.
Yeah. And even things like, Ross and I were joking about it when we were chatting just the other day, but when we first started recording from home and I bought these, IKEA cubes and lined them with sound padding. And so we're all like, we had a box that we're talking
Literally
into
talking
the
into a
microphone
box.
because none of us had sound treated rooms or anything at that time.
Well, we were sharing an
just to
office
keep
at
the
that
podcast
point.
going. Yeah, we were sharing an office, and oh man, there were so many crazy times with even behind the scenes for the Adventure Path to get this out. And
I mean, I know
missing,
for the fan.
I was just gonna say, only missing 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
And doing recaps for them instead. So I think we had a pretty good. That was when COVID finally snuck up on us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was.
But we did get
unavoidable.
some special guest starring from Narmer there, so that was fun.
Yes, we did.
That is true. We did a little bit of special guest starring from Narmer, and again I think I speak for all of us when it's amazing the friends that we've made along the way from this, being able to talk to everyone that we've met and engaged with in the community, going to PaizoCon and being recognized at PaizoCon.
That was surreal.
Rachel and I being recognized once at Scarborough Fair.
That was honestly pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it totally made my day.
It did. It was great, and this amazing community that has grown up behind all around the podcast, as far as the Discord and having this Discord be having our Discord be a recognized society event space, and
official lodge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that being said, obviously, there's still a lot more to come from us. Like, we're not going to rest on our laurels as far as things go, as far as finishing this AP is concerned. That we have so much more in store for us. But yeah, being an official Paizo podcast and being able to start our Patreon and the amazing amount of support that we've received from our patrons there that allow us to actually continue to, allowed us to sound treat our rooms, which was clutch whenever we suddenly needed to have new microphones and new setup.
I have a cat as extra padding right now. Look at him. So
he
cute.
absorbs so much sound.
He does.
We have to leave the doors open, otherwise he makes so much sound.
Yeah, he is the reason that you cannot shut doors in our house.
But yeah, I guess my question before we get to everyone else's questions are, thoughts on the AP. I had fun.
I had fun. Yeah,
the first thing in my mind was it was fun, but God, think of something cool to say, Heather.
I know. It's like I need to be witty and clever. Oh crap!
Nah, F that. That's all.
It was fun.
Ephemeral.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
times.
think it was a really interesting AP.
I miss my golden boy, but Masika's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think it was
absolutely.
really interesting. It had some twists and turns that we didn't kind of see. It wasn't very predictable. So I liked a lot of stuff.
It hit that the mummy vibe that we thought it would hit when we started.
Yeah, definitely.
The vibes were really good.
It hit the nostalgia factor for me because I was so obsessed with Egyptian mythology as a kid, and so to kind of get to play through this, it was just kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked getting it an artifact level item really quickly, and then weirdly not getting a lot of use throughout the entire adventure path. Because
we're weird. I don't know. We do that though. We do that with things. Because I forget which one. We got a magic sword. We threw it in a bag.
Its passive bonus for the group was,
it's super good
hugely influential.
True,
for
that
Onuris
was
and then
great.
Sudi.
Yeah. Just getting a stat bonus is always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a hefty one too for the level y'all got it at. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shocking lack of mummies also in this adventure path.
Yeah.
There were some. I mean, the big boss was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it curious that you guys fought a mummy at the beginning of book 2, and then a couple more mummies during the course of book 2, and then it was mummy adjacent.
Yeah, there's a lot of mummy for a long time.
Mummified.
Template. Yeah, mummified.
Mummies
the sheer
alive?
number of times that I think most of them were edited out, but the sheer number of times Rachel was like, "Is this an aura of despair?"
You gotta ask.
You
gotta ask.
A bonus.
I know you had a bonus, and it almost never came up.
I know.
Your save versus curses came up way more often than the save bonus versus
really did,
aura of despair.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, I got to play a wizard through the end, which was great. I had never been able to play a wizard past like 5th level before. Like that campaign's always ended, so that was cool.
I mean, it helped that Hollis came in at like 7th level or something like that.
If you're gonna play a wizard, come in at like 7th or 8th level.
Oh yeah, that's when wizards get good. Like
then you got
really
good.
nice.
You didn't have to do any of the like,
Wizards are
the
fun.
stick hit me and I've died kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like my first
granted,
character.
I think if Hollis got hit with a stick, she still might have died. She no
Hey,
AC.
I just didn't have a very good AC. My hit points were okay.
That's fair. Depends on
That's
the
true.
size
They'd
of
have
the
to hit
stick.
you with the stick a lot.
I took toughness and had a decent for an elf constitution.
Yeah. So I
man.
know we have a lot of questions that we've gotten
Let's
in
do
from
it.
our Discord, our subreddit, and everything. A staggering
From this chat.
number
We have
of
so
of
many,
questions
y'all.
from the chat
Yes.
now.
I'm
yeah,
sure
we
there's a lot in
I've
the
been
chat.
adding them
Yeah.
as I've been getting them, so
So
definitely.
we are going to go through these. We're going to go fairly rapid fire because we have a lot of questions to get through, and we don't want to necessarily be here all night. And I know a lot of you have come to hear what we're going to be doing following this. So
Yeah,
that's a
soon.
big reveal that we've got coming up before the end of the night. So suppose if I just do a virtual toss of the baton over to Ross there.
Don't toss the baton to me. I'm not ready. No.
well,
I'm trying to
I'd be
hear my
ready.
own voice.
No, I'm
That's
ready.
not
Actually,
true.
I will catch that baton and then proceed to run face first into the middle of the track, and we lose the whole relay race.
It's okay. I trip over my own feet. It's fine.
We're not racing anyone. We're fine.
Let's see here. All right. So first of all, I am, of course, I'm Ross, just in case you missed it up front. I will, of course, be helping to host. And first, I think we do have some congratulatory emails that we got in. Number of them, which we love getting emails. It always warms our hearts. And thank you so much. We do have some special thanks to Noah and his dad Thomas, Stephen B, Christopher G, Jerry W, Ed, Emery, who we misgendered him previously, so we do apologize for that.
Yeah, I believe I went to school with a woman named Emery, and so I think I just assumed Emery was the one who wrote to us from Hawaii that was talking about doing all this stuff.
okay.
Right. Okay.
And I believe that was my mistake, so I apologize.
I had a student named Emery who was a boy. Probably still is.
Yep.
Anyway,
But-
we apologize.
So do apologize.
We also have emails from Alden, Sean, Max, Aaron, Nicholas, Kim, Jim, Brendan, and many, many more. Are we sure that's not Brendan Fraser?
Definitely
Oh
Brendan
man, if
Fraser.
only.
No, but seriously though, Brendan, thank you. We
Thanks,
do
big fan.
appreciate it.
Man, if Brendan
And,
Fraser listened to
We
our
already talked about him
podcast,
so much.
That's true.
But we do appreciate all of you emailing in. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
we don't have
absolutely.
the time to go through all of the emails, but it is always wonderful to hear from
We
you.
will.
all.
We've had
We
a
do read them.
Deluge
so.
of emails. So
Yeah.
We love an email.
We do read them, and we do try our best to answer when we can. We don't always answer promptly, but it is always wonderful to hear from y'all. So
it is.
And from there, if y'all are ready, I think we're ready to go into some questions. I'm going to
We're ready.
start from our Discord, and we're going to progress
Okay.
from there. We've also got some questions from Reddit, and I've seen a number in the chat today. But first of all,
questions.
all the questions. Our first question comes from Damie Wayne, and they ask...
I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's a Damian Wayne reference, but I'm not positive.
I laughed a little. I hope it is. I don't know.
it is
he asks,
now.
as we've heard you talk about before you finished a lot of APs, how different... as we've heard you talk about before, you finished a lot of APs. How different does it feel to have finished this one for the podcast as compared to finishing an AP at your home table? Did you feel more connected to these characters and stories than past ones? And as a side note for Rick, is there any super cool loot the party missed that you want to talk about? And signs off as Nicholas from the Trunau Black Arrows. So
Cool.
It's surreal to like finish recording and then, we all go out to dinner and we're like, oh man, we did it. And then have to wait for like a month for other people to hear the ending, and then everybody be like, congratulations, you finished. And it's like, oh yeah, we finished. It's like nostalgia immediately.
Everybody was like,
the scenes,
are you doing anything special tonight because it's releasing? We're like, no, because we've been done for like a month.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes. We finished it up at the end of September, as far as our recording was concerned.
Yeah.
Because Rachel and I were going out of town for a little bit, and I didn't want it to be. I didn't want to get halfway through the boss fight with Hakatep and then Rachel and I leave for 2 weeks and then we get back and have to finish that
what's
fight.
happening? Yeah. What are we doing? Oh yeah, I was a dragon.
Whose turn was it?
So on the subject of my personal, I don't know if I'm speaking for all of you on the more connected to these characters and these stories and so on. I felt like the story was a lot more prescient in my mind, because I was running the game. I was also, kind of like running the podcast at the same time, and then I was editing it, and then I was listening to the finished product, and there were a couple of times where I went back and a key example was the catfolk, the leader of the catfolk that Sudi met in his in the final episode. That whole thing.
That guy.
I went back and listened to that episode because I was like, how exactly? I remember I had a very distinctive voice for this guy. How exactly did I do this?
Yeah.
So I think I had almost a deeper connection to this adventure path because I was so immersed in it and had to listen to it multiple times.
Just because we talked with the fans and everything so much about it, I talked about this AP a lot more than I talked about the others because, we would talk about our tabletop games amongst ourselves, but it wasn't spurring on big conversations. I think that was pretty much the really big difference, was outside opinions. So.
Yeah, I think it kind of, for me, like, I feel like I gave just a little bit extra with all of my stuff because it was recorded. Like, it was one of those things, like, there were times where, like, we felt sick, we still recorded, and, like, normally I'd just be like, I'm just gonna be in a corner dying over here, but, like, no, I'm gonna have to, like, pump it up for 2 hours to, like, really put out a good product. And I felt like that kind of pushed me to, like, just try to be better.
Well, things had to be more sensical. Like, the choices that I made as a character had to be coherent with like the canon of that character.
Yeah.
When usually, if I feel like on a lark doing a real random thing that has nothing to do with my character, it's a lot easier to do that at a home game.
Yeah. You're more cognizant of, the fact that people are listening to this and immersing just as much as we are, and so I strive to do better almost because I want to make sure that the level of immersion I'm getting is the same as everyone else. So.
Yeah, it's that while Ross was at times, the fifth person at the table, there was always that idea of that fifth seat. Literally, actually, when we were recording in person, that there was a seat down at the end of the table that was opposite of where I was. That was the audience seat. You had to be aware, you had to, there was none of that, I move here and I do this. It's, very much being cognizant of what you're saying.
Not that we probably didn't do a fair amount of that as we were, because this was also the first show where we're learning how to do a podcast. Yeah. And so it was a very interesting journey, not just in terms of the story, but also in terms of like this craft and kind of how we're putting it all together and like getting better at doing accents, getting better at descriptions, better mic work. Things like that kind of went hand in hand, because like I can remember some of the feedback that I got from Rick, because of course Rick would always be giving us feedback on stuff, would correspond to like certain like plot points. So like they're kind of ingrained in my mind as like, oh, that was when I learned that I need to do better at blank or something like that. So it's kind of a
better
weird
at character voices.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you've done a character voice for a long time, suddenly it's a lot easier to do. So like, I do not have to try to do Sudi's voice; I just do it. You know, like versus
I'm gonna
like
miss that voice. It's so easy.
yeah. Oh, Hollis's.
Hollis, easy.
But you're saying you're gonna miss Sudi's voice, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you liked it that much.
It's cute. It's a cute voice. A good voice.
Yeah.
I liked all your voices.
I get to keep that voice forever because I can make you do it whenever.
I mean, that's true. That's true. You do get
And
that.
then Rick,
privilege.
was there any loot in particular that the party missed that you were like, man, I really wish they'd found that?
Not really specifically. There were some occasions where I cut sections that had cool loot in it, and I just moved it to other areas. I remember that being the case with the other half of the glove of snare, like arrow snaring or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That I moved from being in the rook's nest when you guys didn't go up there and murder a rook for no reason.
Yeah.
So I moved
Mikey
it
says
someplace
hi,
else.
everybody.
Yes.
Mikey, say hi to all the fans.
The common question of what do I edit out? Sometimes it's just Mikey
Yeah.
singing the song of the people.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, there wasn't really anything that I cut or I felt was really cool magic item that I didn't then subsequently move to some place that they would actually find it.
Cool. Alrighty.
So.
Well, from there, I guess. Also, hi, Mikey.
Dude, chat is exploding with hi Mikeys.
Yeah.
It's Mikey. We gotta say hi to Mikey.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's just saying hi.
But,
so thank you, Damie Wayne.
Yeah, and we have another question here from Rex Vulpus. This one's a bit more of a bit more of an involved one. Another thing Rick has to edit out frequently is me just sort of tripping over words.
That's fine.
And
we're doing good here.
Right up into the microphone.
This is what makes the blooper reels sometimes.
It's true.
Anyway, Rex.
Yes, Rex asks, more than once when talking to representatives of Hakatep, the party has said that his time has passed, he needs to be allowed to move on to his rest, and so on. I find that the issue of Hollis having been dead herself as one of her background traits has never been brought up in this context. The party is happy to have Hollis's help without ever telling her that she belongs dead, quote unquote. Not to mention that they learned that Tetmaneb is only alive because Cassine defied the natural transition of his soul to let him live again. I realize that the circumstances behind Hollis' surprise resurrection and Tetmaneb's return are different from what Nahamra did to Hakatep, but how does the party as a whole feel about death, resurrection, and it's your time to go, please stop trying to live and do stuff again?
It depends on the stuff you're trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's also, there's a difference between coming back to life and coming back as an undead.
Yes,
Well, he would have been whole if we'd given him the mask, though.
He wanted to be alive again.
But he wanted to conquer and cause war, so no, get out of here.
Yeah, it's more one of those things, you know, he's been dead for 6,000 years and is only returning because of what Nahamra did. And there a lot of people, I don't know if it's just something people don't think about, but when the raise dead spell and the resurrection spell and the true resurrection spell all have the option for the person being raised to say no. It's probably in there so your enemies can't raise you.
True.
You know, to get information and stuff out of you.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those, if we try to raise them and they say no, okay, they're happy in their afterlife. But if they say yes, okay, you know.
But Hakatep didn't get the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it never came up in the show, but Sudi as a Pharasman, I would not have accepted a resurrection. So I said actually, like, probably maybe when I got in the cat sarcophagus or something like that, I remember it was very early that I said, I do not want, you know, I don't want Sudi to come back because I don't think it makes sense for him as a Pharasman to not want to go on to his afterlife.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, good thing we didn't let you die then.
Yeah, good thing I didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's sometimes with the whole, like, it's your time, I think it was also in relationship to you had your reign. You know, it's no longer your time to, you served your terms, even though they don't have term limits in Osirian, and you need to move along.
Hey, you got a life term. You did it. You died.
I mean,
people are waiting for you in the afterlife. Go.
Sitra was a follower of Osiris who, you know, died and then came back. So.
Also opposes Set, though, so it's kind of a thing.
Yeah. So if you come back to fight the good fight, I think Citra's on board.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Hollis is, it's magic, it's chill, but also, like, you're doing bad stuff. Go away. Like, that is, if you came back and just wanted to, like, have a farm and, like, raise chickens, cool, whatever. But
yeah, take your
you want to come back here and go do that. Ruin a bunch of stuff? No, thank you, friends.
Yeah. That's fair. So, yeah, thanks, Rex.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Rex. And our next question comes from Xroot, who asks, hello, Xroot, who asks, Hollis, Masika, and Narmer were wonderful additions to the crew. Were there other character ideas that were on players' minds for if their original PCs died or otherwise moved on? So I guess that's more of a Jordan and Rachel question, though.
Yeah, it's a Jordan and Rachel
Heather or Jessica, either of you had a character after that, too.
Nope.
Yeah.
A druid.
Fair enough.
I had a hard enough time coming up with Masika. Like, I went on Onuris died, I was just like, and now what?
Yeah.
So I hadn't even thought about what I would do if Masika was permanently killed. So yeah.
Jordan, Rach?
I mean, sorry, I'm getting distracted by all of these subs. Just lasting.
Also, yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank
we
you
really
so much,
appreciate
everybody.
it.
But man, is it going in my ears.
Also, part of the editing process is Jordan's ADD.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's true.
I need to focus.
No business.
So
you're fine. You're great.
I would say the big thing for me that I'd kind of gone between was like I wanted to be a frontline fighter. I had never played a fighter. I had played a monk, and so I decided to play a monk just out of comfort. My backup character was just to play a fighter. And I don't know if I would have done 2-weapon fighting, but 2-weapon fighting is just so good, especially at higher levels, that I probably would have been tempted into it.
Cool.
But I probably would have played a tankier character, like probably done like heavy armor and shield.
You do a lot of tanky things.
Well, that's the end of my play style. I play a little tankier, just as my general play style. So
Outside of magic.
Outside of magic, yes. I can't make a tanky wizard if I could.
It is difficult.
You could in 2nd edition, maybe.
In 2nd edition, maybe, yeah, if I took enough feats. So yeah, I would have played a fighter.
I honestly didn't think about it. I might have gone and done my original character idea, which was a blind oracle, but I didn't need to. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Not for lack of trying to be skinned.
Seriously.
Yeah, there were definitely close
It's been
calls.
in my mind forever.
Yeah, that was, thank God the dice gods were on my side. Oh,
Seriously.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we don't get to say that anymore. Dang.
Well, we can say it all we want. It just will be weird.
I still wanted it on a shirt and the baseball font where it's like, oh, Cyrus. Maybe I'll still make that. That would be fun.
Yep. We'll consider that in the future for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that Bobby's
All
house
right.
is over.
I was going to say, Rick, do you have any characters that you would have played if, wait, you did get to play characters every time your characters died?
That's true.
There's always another
never-ending
NPC.
revolving door of characters to bring in. But,
So, yeah. But yeah, thank you, Xroot, for your question there.
Thank you.
And our next one comes from Good Couch. So, hey, Good Couch.
Hello.
How's it
Actually,
going?
since we're doing a question from Sarah, there, thank you to Sarah and TJ who actually sent us some commemorative coins.
They were so cool.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's really so
Cool.
neat.
I totally don't
Yeah,
have
I've got
one.
one.
Nice.
It's right around here.
Yeah, you can find our address if you want to send us stuff, and we do love it every time it occurs.
Yeah,
It's
Sarah
on the website.
Rick
also.
disappeared.
Yeah, Sarah
No.
also
No,
did
let
a
me
fair
try to stick
amount of
that way
work
up
for
there.
us.
Oh,
with
cool.
Look how amazing that looks.
Hey,
Oh,
nice.
really
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Swanky.
fantastic. For the audience that can't see this because you're listening to it on audio, it's a really cool coin with the Find the Path logo and everything. So
It's a silverish,
So thank you.
silverish
Super
coin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, absolutely. So we do appreciate it. It has done a lot of work for us and a lot a lot of fan art too. You check
Yes.
that
I was
out.
gonna say, yeah,
because it's
Holy
fan
really
art,
crap.
cool.
and some
So
of it
many
turned
good
into actual
pieces.
products on our store. So, you know,
yeah, and
Yeah.
TJ was our event coordinator for PaizoCon last year. So
Yep.
TJ's always gone above and beyond for us as well. So thank you both.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I think we have a question for Sarah.
Absolutely. She asks, I don't believe we ever encountered the animal-headed doppelganger that sprung out of the pyramid over Wati. I was curious which doorkeeper wound up being the lucky winner of one clone hell-bent on destruction. Thank you.
Yeah,
One
I know
backup
that's a
character.
question we've gotten a lot, and it's basically like when the mirror is shattered, there's a chance that one of those characters dies. And I bounced it at the time, and that character died. But at the same time, I like to leave my players in suspense. So the fact that loomed large over them for the rest of that book.
Do you remember which one of us got cloned, though?
It was Masika, actually.
Evil Narmer.
Okay.
Evil Narmer.
Not only Evil Narmer, the idea that the whole time when we had that crazy weather stuff and we were like, it's Evil Masika, we were right. Kind of, sort of.
I mean, the weather wasn't because of
it was
Evil
because
Masika,
of that, but like, it was at least the correct doppelganger that we were guessing. Oh, man.
That's fun.
And I think Masika would have been a very interesting one because I remember
dragon.
putting some thought into it. Well, not even that. It's the fact that, Masika can use elemental body the same as Hakatep did to turn herself into an elemental, making her immune to sneak attacks, has the same ability to... It basically has a lot of the things that Hakatep could do, but as a prepared spellcaster. So it's like, it could be a heck of a fight against, evil Masika. But it just wasn't in the cards.
Evil Narmer with all of his improved dirty tricks and all that stuff. Dude,
Yeah, I
we know his
actually thought about
weakness,
that.
and it's lightning.
Yeah,
All
I
sorts
actually
of
thought about that where I
interference.
was just like, honestly, I probably would have done a sandstorm. I probably would have had her transform into an earth elemental so that she could have tremor sense. Make her immune to critical hits and stunning and all the rest of that stuff. As long as she moves, it's the same thing as Hakatep. As long as she moves further than Sudi's ability to flying kick, Sudi can't use pummeling style because he has to hit multiple times to do that. And then have Narmer buried in the sand pop out dirty trick, still Hollis's material component pouch. And then Hollis can't gain access to anything that has a material component or focus. And
Sonic
just run
is.
from
I guess
there.
I'm just shouting at him.
So just shouting nonstop. So it could have made for a very interesting encounter, but at the same time, as much as it was fun to play around with that with Hakatep having a degree of knowledge over the party, playing, I still tried to limit myself in what Hakatep knew, and also he's a spontaneous spellcaster. So it's not like I could change the spells.
Yeah,
true.
But with Masika, it would be a prepared spellcaster that can also just go, okay, you guys have finally done a ton of damage after using your resources and everything that you have, and the heal spell. And the heal spell. And again.
But we also have the other Masika on the other side who can do the harm spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have it
although I don't think she
memorized.
usually, because you guys fight so much undead, I don't think she usually prepares that one.
It's true.
I don't think it necessarily would have been a whole bunch of fun, but I did appreciate the level of tension, the looming thought of that caused for the party during the entirety of the slave trenches.
True.
So,
all right.
Good times.
Another visitor.
Mr. Ken.
Hello,
Hey,
Mr.
Kenway.
Ken. Usually you
Alrighty.
get a tail
Well, thank
more
you,
than a
Good Couch.
Yeah,
And
Thank you.
you.
Let's see here. We do have another one. Jimmy T has asked a few questions.
Hey, Jimmy.
Some of them simpler than others, so I went ahead and just combine them all together here.
All right. We're being very bad at keeping these concise. So,
We're not
Yeah.
concise people.
So
Hi,
Jimmy
Rick.
You've
T.
edited our
Met
after
us.
parties.
Jimmy T asks, once a campaign AP is over and the characters' paths are done, do you do anything to memorialize them? I have kept every handwritten character sheet and updated versions of all my PCs going back to 1991, which is impressive.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
I do have a folder that has every character sheet.
Yeah,
for
me
every
too.
Yeah,
I have a
me too.
folder,
I have a
Yeah.
binder.
and I have a bag of dice sets.
Yes.
I do also have a
I
bag.
also
Like, 'cause
have
there's
all my
one
old
dice
dice
set per
sets.
character, so you retire those dice when the
Yep, so
AP's
Hollis's
done.
dice will join the dice set bag.
yeah, I hold on to my character sheets as well.
Yeah, as do I. Jimmy also asks, is there anything else that you do in this regard? Like, I don't know, do you have any, like, pictures that you have made or anything
Well,
like that?
We
or-
did used to do
Benefit from
commemorative.
having pictures done.
Well, yeah, we have
Yeah.
pictures now, but we did actually used to commission art at the end of the AP with like the
Yep.
final, set.
Like
Party.
a group pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We never did do one for Carrion Crown. We need to go back and do
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
That
We
makes
didn't do
me
one for
sad.
Carrying
true.
Crown, did we?
We missed that one.
Y'all should.
Yeah, but we do
Um,
have we did get a group picture done of everybody after the APs we finished.
And we have a heck of a Mummy's Mask one that we actually need to send out to people on that $10 tier.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm.
And, we've got now 222 episodes to memorialize the...
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I've
That's true.
actually thought about going back and listening, but I'm like, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't.
If there's anything I've learned, if you give me the same input, I will give you the same output. So I will try internally to make the same joke and comment that I made before. So listening to it's real weird for me.
Well, it might be an interesting experience for a couple of you guys, because I know you don't routinely listen to the episodes, and so what does it sound like post edit and things like that?
Heather needs to go listen to the memorial for Onuris.
Yeah, I still want to listen to that.
Yeah. The episode that she wasn't there.
I was always afraid to listen to them because I thought it would make things seem more scripted, because as a player you forget things. And if you go back and listen, all that stuff is still fresh in your mind. And I was always afraid it would seem less organic, if that makes any sense, So that's why I never listened to
Our math is way more on point in the edit.
Yeah, it always is.
See here.
Yep, it's like a beautiful mind here.
Jimmy also asks, when do we get action figures?
Do you have any
plans?
Made?
1 in 20 Sudi variant, or Onuris with a headdress, Hollis with a cowboy hat, Sitra with like 2 action stabs.
Oh man,
like Masika, Narmer, like that'd be fun. I don't know if we're ever going to do that.
Yeah, we have no idea how to make those.
Unfortunately, that would be be difficult to do. You know what would actually be a fun thing to do is commission someone to make 3D models. And then we could provide those for people to 3D print them or things, or provide the PDF to people for free to, not PDF, but the file to 3D print them at home, so you can have your own little diorama.
That'd be fun, yeah.
That would be cute.
Something to consider for the future. I don't know if they'd have karate chop action, but it'd be pretty cool.
I was gonna say they would not have karate chop action unless you do a lot of work.
We could do a plushie pretty easily. I think there's a thing that'll let you do it, and I know it's been shared with me like 1,000 times. We just never get around to doing it.
I want an armor plushie.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
I want a sugar plushie personally. I named my new car after Hollis, and I put a chicken sticker on the back of it. It makes me really happy.
I need a Gus plushie is what I need.
Oh, a little bat.
Little bat
let's
plushie
see.
would be amazing.
Crossing the streams.
But Jimmy also asks, as their last question, what is the last image you have in your head of how your characters look? Just in case some fan artist wants to put pencil to paper. So
we have. Are we going to share? When are we sharing that art?
Jordan,
Spoiler.
can you share that art in our Twitch stream? Is that super hard to do?
Yes.
Okay.
I did not
we'll post it on the Discord.
I did not prepare for
We did
that.
get very, very nice art pieces done for everybody.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the things we were sharing tonight, but I'm not in charge of the Twitch stream, so...
We need to send it. We're going to make a print. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The final scene I have in my head is like one of those, like the multiple tables crammed together in the Tooth and Hookah with like everyone on pillows all around it. So it's like
it's just the end
Last
of the
Supper
first
or
Avengers
something,
movie.
kind of like everyone crowd together.
Little baby crocodile in the fountain.
With crocodiles and Tetmaniv's leaning over doing
crocodile
things.
Because Stinger Jr. was there.
It's true.
Azaz is looking exasperated in back of the ground with
I think Azaz and I should get along. Hollis and Azaz should get along at least a little bit.
So like everyone's there hanging out. So, I mean, that's my last mental image, and then
and Brendan Fraser's just chilling in the background.
A cameo from Brendan Fraser,
Oh, man.
And Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz, yes.
So, all right.
Great.
So that is all of Jimmy T's questions. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Our next set of questions comes from the Gentleman Lich on our Discord as well.
Ooh, the
I recognize that name.
Oh, yeah. And the first one is anyone in the podcast interested in listening to the AB episodes they weren't a part of, or would you rather not know? So this is, I think, more for the players, because, of course, Rick listens to both.
Well, like I just said, I haven't gone back and ever listened to the Onuris ones, mostly because I'm afraid it's going to make me cry, and I don't want to do that.
Well, this is the the B-side that you weren't part of. So, like, what were the adventures of, Hollis and Sitra together?
I mean,
I listened to the other one because A, I'm nosy, and B, it was fun. I wanted to see what the boys were doing.
I did not listen to the B-side of mine.
I didn't either.
Fair enough.
But I think also I'm nosy. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, it makes sense
Nosy and I
whenever we were
like
recording
spoilers.
not to do it, but now that it's done, like, you know, you can do it whatever you want. It's out of context
I mean,
now.
you didn't hear me climb a statue, or all of us, I guess, try to climb a statue to kiss it when we got drunk.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sure
Nope.
didn't.
Ah,
I mean,
good
I did
times.
listen to the B side of the Faded stuff. You know, the stuff that you may remember. I think it was like Falto, Jean-Louis, and Isaac on one side, and then it was the actual like Faded gang, the remains of the Faded gang on the other side. So I did listen to y'all's adventures there. You had a very different time than we did.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Theirs went a lot
You
smoother,
had
I
a very
imagine.
different time.
yes, it was a lot smoother.
That actually brings up a fun anecdote. That I don't know if we've actually talked about this before, but I know we've gotten a lot of people comment on how much they like the A-side, B-side thing when we do those and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
And that was actually a tool that came as a matter of necessity, where we were already recording the shows and there were just scheduling conflicts and all the rest of that stuff early on in Mummy's Mask. And, you know, I didn't want to miss an episode of Mummy's Mask, like 17 episodes in or whatever it was. And so it was just conveniently in a place that I could split the group in half because some players were available one day, some players were available the other day. And so every time that you hear an A-side, B-side, the one for Hell's Rebels, I know I talked about not crossing the streams, but Hell's Rebels does have
And
them
now
as well.
you're doing it
And
yourself.
now I'm doing it.
It's
Because
okay
I
when he
can.
does it, is what he's saying.
I'm mad with power.
Apparently.
That, you know, a lot of times those are because of scheduling constraints or anything like that, because sometimes we suffer the same issues that every game group does, which is coordinating schedules to maintain a flow of things, which is part of the reason that we record a bit in advance, because you never know when, you know, suddenly something's going to come up and it's like, oh yeah, I was, you know, we do the podcast. We all love doing the podcast. We have a successful Patreon, but it's not successful enough that any of us do this for a living. And as such, you know, I understand if it's, you know, Jess or Rachel or Jordan or someone has to like leave the state for a conference or whatever it is. It's like, I've got to go do this thing for work. You know, and Heather
That
so
thing
often
that
is
pays
on
me
call
money
and
so
all
I
the rest
can
of
live in
that
a
stuff.
house.
So yeah.
Not as
So
much
there's-
anymore now that I do the CT instead of the X-ray, but yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing with the A-side, B-side, and it's a happy coincidence that I think it worked out for us, that people enjoy having those episodes with a smaller number of players, really allowing you to drill down on the individual characters.
Absolutely. The next set of questions is a bit more involved, but it's split in half, mainly to Rick, but then some to the crew. Rick, I realize as a long-running group of friends, this necessarily isn't the sort of thing you'd need to do, but before the campaign, did you utilize any player consent tools like the X card or lines and veils, or informally discuss content in the AP that might potentially make your players uncomfortable? Is there any content that you wish that you changed or wish you had after the fact? I know a certain clever use of stone to flesh bothered some people, at least on the Discord.
Trust me, it bothered us in real life.
And
we
then
put
to
it
the
off for a long time.
and then to the crew, is there any content that bothered you or you wish had been changed? So, yeah.
Well, I suppose for the first part of that question, no. I have a lot of experience with this group, and so I have a general idea of, you know, what makes people comfortable and what makes people uncomfortable as far as the group is concerned. I'm not always 100% correct, and if you're playing with a group that you are not as experienced with, I highly suggest, you know, utilizing these tools to make certain that no one is made immediately uncomfortable. I will sometimes bring up something in relationship to a part of the story that the group is in, not before the AP begins, but more that, hey, this is coming up, just to forewarn you. Book 3 of Rise of the Rune Lords is the one that immediately springs to mind.
Which one's book 3 of Rise?
Okay.
I don't want to go into spoiler. It's Hook Mountain Massacre is the
Okay,
name of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
It deals with some very difficult themes, and as such, I felt I needed to talk to everyone before I even ran that and just go, hey, by the way, there's some really creepy stuff. And I think when I brought that up to a lot of you, you're like, oh, well, that's fine. We're not worried about that. And I'm like, yeah, but, you know, I was I had experience with all of you, but I think I'd known Jess and Jordan for maybe a year at that point, a year and a half or something like that. So I'm like, I don't, necessarily know.
I could see how it could bother some people, but
we're just that's not the thing that bothers us.
Bothers us.
I think the kind of more interesting thing for us was not just what bothers us, but making being conscious of what would kind of not work in the podcast. So we censor all of our swearing and try actively not to swear, even though in our home games, we're sailors. So things like that. Not doing extremely graphic violence or anything like that. I think we talked more about hey, what kind of show do we want to do than what content are we not comfortable with?
Yeah. I mean, I considered, as far as the second part of that question, as far as Mummy's Mask is concerned, I was considerate of the fact that, for lack of a better term, almost every one of the cultists that you fought were suicide bombers.
Yeah.
And it has a very... I tended to just glaze over that, where it was just the only time I ever
on that too much.
The only time I ever really played it up was with the her name escapes me
Merit
right
Hetef.
now. Merit Hetef. I played it up a bit with her because she wasn't a true believer. So everyone else was more than happy to die for the cause. And so I never wanted to make light of suicide, obviously, because unfortunately, like so many people, it has touched my life in the past. And so I didn't ever want to make light of it, but at the same time, I didn't feel like we were approaching it in such a disrespectful way that it would be troublesome for the adventure path. And I think for all of you, you're aware that these are evil cultists, and it was just, I think I used the phrase detonate a billion times, whereas you stab them, they detonate, and then immediately roll into, make a save or be blinded.
Well, and I was never sure if they were activating that or if the magic itself just activated, and how many people wouldn't have had a choice to...
Yeah.
You can't
it's actually
fight
both.
it once
they
it's
can
on
choose to activate it themselves, or it automatically activates. So
a little bit of column
it's an either and or both, because if you bludgeon them to unconsciousness and then wake them up, they'll usually blow themselves up because they're all fanatics. So
all right,
I really wish they'd gone into the reasoning behind that for the Cult of the Forgotten Pharaoh, how Seraphon had attracted so many people.
With such a fanatic devotion to that cause,
in such a short time, also.
Cults.
Well, I guess being possessed by a dude with a 26 charisma will help.
I suppose that does make a difference.
Man. He's so charming.
Let's hear. We do have one other question as well from the Gentleman Lich, and this one is, how does the FTP crew handle party power levels so they don't constantly struggle, but also don't roll over every encounter? I know Smite Evil in general is banned. Are there written out rules, or is there discussion beforehand? Does Rick approve each character sheet? And does this differ from how you used to play home games, or how those party members who run their own games do things?
I certainly don't look over everyone's character sheet. I used to.
We send them to you, but
I used to look over them just to make sure skill points, like every couple of levels, I would look over them.
We
and
would routinely
sure
forget things.
Right, and
make sure I'm notorious for having forgotten my feats for about 5 levels.
Gosh, Rachel.
Every few levels, I'll add up how many skill points I should have and how many hit points I should have, and make sure it's right, because sometimes as you're leveling up, things get missed.
Lost and shuffle.
As far as the ban on paladins is concerned, it's really just because they're anticlimactic, not necessarily overpowered. It's just you're decent at a number of encounters, and you get to trivialize what's supposed to be the big dramatic encounter. You can make the same argument with a wizard basically banking their spells the entire time to then blast off uber powerful spells for one fight, but especially when you're fighting undead dragons or evil outsiders, the paladin's ability to trivialize what's supposed to be a very dramatic moment is
at high levels the ability to give that to other party members as well.
To give it to the entire party and make that easy mode.
I love playing with paladins in normal games, though.
But that is just for the pod. And the home games are fine.
In our home games, I've played paladins. I think Jordan has.
I played paladins.
I did.
Heather has. We definitely definitely use them in home games.
And I think as far as like scaling, scaling fights, I mean, we use the standard scaling for party size, as needed for challenge ratings, but really we don't have to, because some fights we just cakewalk and there's no way to call it if it's just a bunch of good rolls, and sometimes it's really hard for no reason. So I've never personally scaled things for the group.
The key is Rick is just as good at playing the bad guys as we are at making our own characters.
That's fair.
So.
Yeah. I don't think there's much of a difference how we play in the podcast than there was in the home games, besides Rick saying, no smite evil. I think that's really probably the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've in previous times before some stuff was errata to be a little bit easier. We had banned like black tentacles just because it slowed combat down, and I want to say there was something else that like even society doesn't.
There's a ranger spell. There's a ranger spell that makes something your favorite enemy. I can't remember what it is.
Instant enemy. Yeah,
instant enemy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rick pretty much says if it's not allowed in Pathfinder Society, it's not allowed at the table because of its.
Unless you talk to him first.
Yeah.
And if it's not allowed in society for whatever, for basically like a more of a fluff reason than really like the numbers crunch. But I'm very lucky in that I have a game group that I never have to worry about them just trying to power game to make a character that is optimal. Whereas
if anything, we go the opposite way.
A lot of times, yes, we do.
You guys are much more interested in making a character that is going to be interesting and relate well with the story. And, sometimes there are suboptimal things that end up in your characters. Again, like the fact that, you guys hopped on a boat, and I don't blame you for playing a desert campaign and not knowing how to swim, but it sucks for a hippo fight.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I don't usually have to worry too much about the group making characters specifically to be overpowered or trivialize encounters, because they're just interested in making fun, enjoyable characters, even if that's not the most optimal choice for something.
Yep.
All right. So I think our next few questions are going to be a little quicker, but we do thank the gentleman Lich for asking some very cool and very interesting questions.
You are literally a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you.
Indeed. And a Lich.
And a Lich.
Our next question here comes from Loki the Troublemaker. So we do appreciate you taking your time out of your busy being a god schedule to listen to our podcast.
True.
Thank you, Loki.
And they ask, what is each player's favorite character and favorite moment across every adventure path you've done?
Oh, crud. Oh.
Yeah.
Make it snappy.
Ooh.
Favorite character?
Out of all of them.
I'm going to go with Hollis because, gosh, it's fun to be a big wizard. Favorite moment? Legacy of Fire, jumping on whatever that creature was that had horns with Rachel's fighter. And being like, let's jump on it. And it being the worst plan ever, but it was very fun.
It was very fun.
The kind of thing you do when it's your first AP and you've only been playing for like 6 months.
What if we just jumped on it?
Context that a little bit.
Let's just jump on it.
You're not Mario. Jeez.
Yeah. Gosh, I really liked playing Sudi. I definitely think Sudi was probably my favorite.
Nice.
Mechanically and from a roleplay perspective. I think my favorite moment, I think I've already said this in one of the previous times we talked about favorite moments, was going up to Kabek like Superman style and just pummeling him. They're like cool. the vision in my mind of a big rock boy Sudi going up and just pummeling him in the air just seems so cinematic and cool. So
very good.
Definitely that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite character is my summoner Simon that I played in our Kyrian Crown game. Whose Eidolon was Slenderman.
Frickin' Slenderman.
Oh man,
so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
He was an unruly little child who never listened to his sister.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a chaos build. Yeah,
I played his sister. This is why I have feelings.
But my favorite moment in any adventure path, this is a slight spoiler for Strange Aeons, is when Rick had us go to Ulthir in the Dreamlands.
Oh, that was
I
good.
just loved that whole
fun.
section.
We
That's
love
probably
kitties.
one of my favorite things we've ever done.
Not necessarily a spoiler
here.
because that's not actually in the adventure path as written.
Oh, okay. well, then Rick is just flipping amazing. So my favorite moment in any Pathfinder game is something that's not even in a book, but it's still my favorite.
Man.
I loved
If
it
you play
so
Street
much.
have your players go to Ulthir. It's amazing.
It was
dang.
so fun.
The city of
So
Ulthir,
fun.
beyond the river sky, no man may kill a cat.
Yep.
It's a great city.
That's
We
right.
love it a lot.
It's
dang.
so good. Yes,
Which is a
but that-
reference to a short story by H.P. Lovecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
And there's your short
so
story
yeah, that
reference.
was definitely my favorite.
That was
my
a good
favorite
moment.
moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rachel?
We gotta finish that AP.
I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to anyone, but my favorite is my halfling investigator, Theodora. She was just a sassy
Yeah.
little thing who I'm pretty sure I told off the big bad to his face.
You shot him with a gun. It was rad.
I shot him with a gun. I think my favorite moment was when the team, like the whole crew together, like I had a group smite plus a named bullet, and we took down the mini boss for that area in one shot.
But every
Yep.
time you got confused, you shot my character in the
In
butt,
the butt.
and it sucked a lot. He loved you, and you were so mean to him.
I mean,
Well,
to
she
be
was
fair, she was
unaware
confused.
that you were in love
It's
with her.
true, but it was a lot.
Also that.
So, but yes, Theodora was my favorite. It's also one of my just favorite names in the whole world. I love the name Theodora.
You're Theodora.
what about you, Ross?
Oh, geez. I get to do it too? Oh, geez.
I'm going to put you on the spot now.
You know, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I think right now my favorite character that I'm actually playing is it's really tough. It's really, really tough, but I'm going to go with Rosamund. So I really
she's
like
great.
her.
Nice.
As far as
Tyrant's
favorite
grasp.
moment, though, there was a moment in Council of Thieves. I'm not going to go into detail because it would be massive spoilers, but toward the midsection climax of Book 2, which is the Sixfold Trial, in case So I actually was kind of at a point where I was more or less soloing like the boss of that section, just because I was the only one with any real resources left.
Oh no!
And managed to. I was at negative hit points, but because of the Die Hard feat, I was still standing.
Very
Oh
good.
my
And right
gosh.
before I collapsed, managed to smite the giant skeleton, and that was a cool moment.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I still love that one. Anyway, Rick, what
I
about you?
suppose for me personally, I mean, my favorite character is probably Gavril, who is my Inquisitor of Pharasma for Carrying Crown. I loved that character. He was great. He was the straight man in a group of oddities, including Heather's
It's true.
character, as we were
Yeah.
just
You can
talking
only
about.
have one.
Yeah, the little brother listened to him more than his sister, and it made the sister mad.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
the
man.
group dad basically for that one. Although honestly, if I was going to go for a favorite moment, and I'm not even going to go for any of the dramatic great role play moments or anything like this. It was because it was such a long time coming. Was in Serpent Skull, I played an alchemist,
My
a
God.
halfling alchemist, Lena. That
You want to talk about power gaming?
I was going to say, you were talking power gaming that character.
give me an alchemist. And at one point, we found a set of gloves of arrow snaring.
Mm-hmm.
And I took those items because I kept a lot of stuff from the treasure, and then we fought a alchemical golem that threw a bomb at my alchemist that I got to then arrow snare,
And throw that.
which was
Nope.
just phenomenal, and then throw it back, which was just phenomenal fun. So yeah, that was
Very
kind of the
good.
way that I did that. That was
That had so many weird moments.
had a
it
lot
was
That
such a
adventure
fun
path was
moment.
wild.
I'm thinking about stealing the baby
Oh.
snake and then returning it because I didn't want to be a mom. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
You had that baby, that egg with you for ever, though. It was
Oh, there was also the one time that
Yeah.
I had one of those combustion, those things that you drink and then it makes you explode.
Oh, yeah, we sent
Heather's character into a boss fight with drinking one of the
Honestly,
things
that was
explode.
Probably one of my favorite moments personally in that AP, but anyway.
We also had our
good.
pants-on adventure time.
Yeah.
I was a flying echolocating dolphin once. That was weird. Who was doing fingers
Shooting out fingers of death, which was also
Thanks
wild.
for all the fish.
Druids. This is why.
Wild AP. Y'all should play it.
But yes, that was. I sadly didn't get to take part of that one, but I heard a lot of stories. It sounded wild. So, but yeah, thank you, Loki, for that question. And our next one comes from Ben Active. He asks, what or who were some of your favorite characters, creatures, humanoid or otherwise, that the party had non-violent encounters with? Shout out to the snake hanging out at the House of the Dead half of the city during book 1.
That guy.
Yeah.
Snake.
The ones we didn't fight.
Kasim.
It's just a snake sunning on a bench somewhere, just like, we won't fight this guy.
Hey, that was the one time that I was like, yes, I'm a ranger. We will be friends with you, Snake.
Yeah. Kwasin was a great one. Yeah, Kwasin was great.
Scheherazade?
Oh, yeah, the Crystal Dragon.
Crystal Dragon.
I like the Crystal
Yeah, they
Dragon
were cool.
lady.
That was really neat.
All of the the invisible stalkers that we befriended.
Oh, yeah, the invisible stalkers, yeah.
And the
So
Pharasma,
Fist bump.
Fist bump.
Yeah, the Dark Stalkers.
The Dark
or
Stalkers,
whatever. Whatever they were.
God, there were a lot of really
Dark folk.
great NPCs
it's true.
in this book, in this AP.
It would
Wow.
normally be, again, just the Geerta Blilu and your,
yeah,
connections
the
that
Geerta
go
Blilu were rad.
together. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Masika totally sent them sent a message to them. Hey, we got it under control, and I'm forming like a peaceful group. Y'all should come.
Do you
back.
want to join the Federation?
All right.
I mean, Neef is really cool. I like Neef.
Oh, yeah, Neef was
Neef
good.
was fun.
I like that.
Sure.
God, the more we're going to think, the more we're going to come up with, so we got to move
It's
on.
true. I think, but yeah, so thank you, Ben, for that question. Our next one comes from Fern from Whistledown and asks, is there an explanation for why there are 3 sage leaders of the Beacon now when there used to be 4? I think this is a question mostly for Rick. Or is it just a change?
For sure.
Or is it just a change that happened at some point with the explanation lost to history? So, Rick, what gives? Tell us. Tell us now.
I mean, we're at the end, so I'll go ahead and pull back the screen. Fold up my GM screen, set it aside. I helped Heather make her character for following Onuris' death as far as Masika was concerned. And I set up this whole thing with the Beacon and the ideas behind that, and everything is based off of course, a lot of the desert nomad groups that already exist in Osirian. And I was just like, you know what? I like 3. There's the 3 fates, the 3 goddesses, all the rest of that stuff.
It's
Zelda.
a good number.
It's a good number. And so I went 3. And it wasn't until like a book and a half later that I was starting to really dig through and prep and everything else for book 6 that I ran across the 4 witches and decided to incorporate those into that. So really what it ended up being is I hadn't read that section about the 4 witches when I'd established the Beacon as a separate tribe, because the Beacon don't exist in canon in the setting. So it's a mystery that will never be answered because they're
your own mystery answer.
Oh my gosh.
Other than the fact that traditions and all the rest of that change over time, and to really illustrate that, it's been 6,000 years.
We encourage fan fiction.
Don't encourage it too much because you know where fan fiction ends up.
Well, I said fan fiction, not adult fan fiction.
Spicy.
Moving on.
So, at any rate, thank you, Fern, for your question. And our
thank you, Fern.
Next one also, I think, mostly falls to Rick, and it comes from Eagle King 64. And he asks, what form does your planning take? Is it sticky notes in the book, highlights, a giant binder full of handwritten notes, a single long scroll filled with esoteric scribbles, or some combination of that or more? I'm curious about how you organize your notes so that I can steal/borrow the idea.
So as far as my planning is concerned, it's actually changed some with the advent of the pandemic and doing things more digitally. But a lot of it was originally in sticky note formats. I would do a surface level read of the entirety of the adventure path, make some general notes for myself, especially when it's just like, I really like this idea. This is really cool here. And then I would usually consolidate all the sticky notes in the book. I had a lot of them. I remember making a note in book 2. I think I showed it to all of you guys. That specifically I wanted Kelru to return back in book 2 after you guys didn't fight and kill him in book 1 and make that a big, fun reveal. But as we've gotten into a more digital format, what I've really started doing, especially with Hakatep when I was gearing up, was I literally ran a word search through all of the PDFs for the adventure path for the name Hakatep. And I just read everything and anything that pertained towards his character's backstory or his interactions. Because Hakatep's stat block is so huge, the section where they talk about him in the book is basically half a page. That's his backstory.
Wow.
But if you're going through it and you read the section where they're talking about in the Kepsutanum, where they're talking about his Akumen, they talk about Hakatep and his backstory. And so I kept going through and collecting these bits of information here and there and there. So honestly, I think a lot of that's a word search function that I started doing, and then copy pasting everything into a Google document and then making it more or less into one giant version of his backstory. I was looking up to the top because it's out of my reach right now, but I've got a folder that is about 30 something pages, I think, of which like 10 of those are Hakatep's backstory.
Oh, wow.
Where I just kept going in and adding more and more and more to his backstory.
The secret backstory folder.
Well, because again, the entire thing with there was this Sphinx that he dealt with once, and it's just mentioned once in the creature description section for that Sphinx. And it goes, okay, well that's a huge point in his character backstory, but it's not going to get the view on his half a page that they've got, because they've got to include artwork and his ridiculous stat block, which takes up a full page and bleeds over into a second one. So that's a lot of how I do it. And especially I make notes of things that I want to foreshadow. So when I'm reading through a later book and there's an NPC that comes up, even doing prep work for the next adventure path that we're doing, there was a lot of, here's an NPC, this NPC is introduced here and is very prominent in this later book. Where can I work him in earlier on so that the party goes, didn't we meet him at a
Gala?
A tavern or something like that, like earlier on in the adventure path? It's like, oh yeah, he was just hanging around back in the background at this tavern. Or even if you're looking at any adventure path and just having rumors that foreshadow things that just seem to be inconsequential.
I love rumors.
Rumors
you
are
always should combine that with rumors that don't turn out.
Yeah.
So,
Red herrings
I
and
think
such.
I mentioned it before. It's like, I love foreshadowing and I love backshadowing, which is, foreshadowing that really only becomes foreshadowing when viewed in reverse. And I love side shadowing, which is foreshadowing that goes nowhere.
Which is just red herrings.
It's just red herrings, but
it's just shadow.
All right. Well, thank you, Eagle King, for your question, and thank you, Rick, for your answers. Our next one, again, probably goes to Rick, but also to Heather. And this one is from Biomechana Magical, which I think is just a really cool
nice.
username.
It's a great word. That's a great word.
Awesome.
And they ask, what was or would have been the full plot of Onuris across the AP? Onuris was the reincarnation of an ancient pharaoh related to Hakatep, so there must have been the outlines of an idea or purpose, for how that would play out through books 4, 5, and 6, even if he sadly didn't live to see them. So, yeah.
Rick and I had talked about how I couldn't have Onuris remember everything that happened, obviously, because then I'd know the big what's going on points of the story. But as we got further along, Onuris was going to start remembering things. Like when we got a flashback or we got to certain events, Rick was like, okay, I'll start handing out some more information or Onuris remembered it happening this way because we're just reading or getting a mask vision and things like that. But I don't know if Rick really had an overall reaching plot point.
I'd considered having an interesting including more flashbacks with Hakatep in connection to his nephew, which would have been Onuris' father, who is the, Dejared II, who was kind of responsible for the inevitable, pardon me while I toss a cat
mishap.
off the side. The whole situation that led to his being split. And I probably would have played that up a bit more, and especially getting into this whole thing of like, he loved his uncle, but also his uncle was responsible for killing his father, but his father tried to murder his uncle. So it's like, was he justified in this? And even maybe playing up an angle of like, would Hakatep have been closer or maybe even more distant following the death of his son? Would it have been like, this person's my heir now, or would have just been, I failed, screw it, move on. So I think I would have probably played up a lot more of that angle and tried to explore that. And, who knows, maybe, the Hakatep would have been there when, Onuris was born. It would have been a funny, Onuris through the eyes of Hakatep witnessing his previous incarnation birth or something like that. Would have been like, oh, weird.
Oh, that's weird.
That's getting some
awkward.
meta.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
therapy right there.
Like, whoa.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I had some ideas, but, much
Bad
like when
things
Sagira
happened.
left, it's much like when Sagira left. It's I had to put aside ideas that I had previously and just adjust to the new situation. No campaign survives contact with players. So
Yep.
It is true.
Or falchions.
Or
Falchions.
that, yeah. Well, with that, we thank you though, Biomechanica Magical, for
thank you so much.
for your questions. And next we have Dizzy Dwarf, who does have a few. I'm going to go through these. The first one is going to be, I think, mostly for Rick, but for everyone, if you do have some thoughts, please feel free to chime in.
Yep.
How does Mummy's Mask compare to the other APs? How would you rate this AP compared to others that you've played or read? Obviously, the campaign itself depends a lot on the people playing it, not the book, but how would you rate the books themselves? This last part, of course, is going to be more Rick, though I think Jordan and I have both read AP books before, obviously, so.
I haven't read this one, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
I would rank Mummy's Mask highly.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. It's probably one of my favorite ones that we've played through.
From a game master perspective, it required the least amount of extra work on my part. There are some adventure paths that do require a lot of extra work. Council of Thieves immediately springs to mind. But with Mummy's Mask, I felt like the story was there. It was fun. It was interesting. It was an engaging story. A little heavy on the dungeon crawl side. And so you have to kind of play up when you get those NPC interactions with monsters and things like that to really get the players to have a chance to role play a lot more. Because if you're not including the Geartip Lilu, or if you're not playing up the group working with whatever creatures that happen to be in the surrounding area as far as the Moff-Tat or anything else like that are concerned, then you're not going to really have, I think, a great time, because it's kind of going from one dungeon to another dungeon to another dungeon if you're just looking at it on the surface level.
Yeah.
So I would rank it highly.
I'd say I really appreciated the variety of stuff that we got to be encountered with. Like, it really did feel like we got a really strong sampling of different kind of things. Like, it was all thematically like Osiriani, but it was like, everything from sphinxes to mummies to, outsiders, all kinds of different stuff. The only thing that I didn't like was there was a couple of times there were just too many cultists.
Oh, man.
And it was like, you walk into a room, there's 8 more cultists, and we're just like, oh, dang it, these guys. So that was like the only, if I was going to knock it, a few less cultists, please. But I mean, I think otherwise, it was solid. It has a really deep story. And I know, Rick, you've talked about the Trinity kind of thing, where there's kind of the Wati arc, then the kind of Tefu
it was
desert
built
arc.
very much as being a trilogy, where the first part of the book you ended with a fight against the mask. The second part of the book you ended up with a fight against the heart, and then the third part, so book 6, you ended with a fight against Hakatep's basically his body. And so it's interesting that the adventure path itself was split into 3s.
Yeah, and I think I liked that, because sometimes you get those, some of the adventure paths, I've had books that feel out of sync. Like they feel like maybe they were added in, or they didn't feel like they progressed the plot as much as I would have liked. And this one felt like it was very cohesive all the way through.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat has tacked on, how would you consider it if you didn't tailor your characters to make it regionally acceptable?
I guess maybe playing more Falto-like characters or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah.
You got to be from the region, but that's pretty much every AP for me. So
Yeah, I feel that in a lot of APs.
I've always tried to make my character for whatever AP we're playing feel connected to where we are, instead of I just came from some other place and now I'm here because I don't know.
Because then it's like, why do you care about
strange
this place?
to me? Yeah.
You got to have some buy-in.
Let's see here. Dizzy Dwarf's next question is, I think, regarding party composition. I was mentioned that two of the players are going to try a class that they've never played before in the next campaign, which we will be getting to at some point. So
eventually, it'll happen.
It's happening. It's going to happen.
We're going to have to keep going. Snappy, short answers, everyone.
Answers.
And what short is?
I'm trying to get through the question.
Everyone, interrupt
Go,
Ross.
Russ. You're doing great.
All right.
You're doing phenomenal, Russ. Keep it up.
And
I think
looking...
it's more... We can't be quiet. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. And looking back to the characters you all have chosen for other campaigns, it certainly seems like you all make an effort to try different things. But at the same time, I gather that most of you do have preferences as well. Jess loves her druids, for example. Ross likes playing paladins. How did you know? Jordan likes wizards, etc. So especially when planning for a long-term campaign, how do you decide between playing a class that you know versus one that you enjoy, or classes that you know and enjoy versus experimenting with something new? And what would you do if you made a weird choice that you end up regretting? And I think this one's more for the players. So
I have a good story for this one.
Is it snappy?
First of all, we've said it a million times, but we always kind of talk about roles, and whoever has ideas kind of says, I really want to do this thing. And then we settle into kind of what role we want to play in the group. But my Legacy of Fire character started as a barbarian. And then I was like, I don't know, I'm going to multi-class with Oracle. And then I was like, this is weird. And so then I just worked with Rick and got rid of all my barbarian levels and became just an Oracle. So I think, if you go somewhere and you do something and you've tried it and you don't like it, you can just talk to the GM.
Rick is really cool about
retraining.
Just allow us to retrain and just kind of hand waving time constraints and certain things, like, okay.
Or sometimes a character just doesn't work and the character has to leave and you bring in a new character.
They bring a new character.
A lot of my inspiration comes from after reading the player's guide and what kind of place it is. That's kind of where I start, and then I think about, oh, well, this class would work here, this class wouldn't. And while I do definitely have classes that I love, there are classes that have always seemed really interesting that I haven't gotten a chance to play before. So
true.
And with knowing that Rick's going to let us retrain if we have to, I mean, it's not like it's okay, I'm stuck with this class if I really hate it. It's
yeah, we're never locked into where it's like, okay, well, it's going to be another 4 years before I can, come play the class I really like. I guess I'll just tough it out. Like we're very much about like actually having fun. Maybe you picked up on that. But we do try to actually have fun with what we're doing.
Yeah, we try to all convene together about like, hey, like I would like to play this class, and if people are generally, like no one else is like, oh, but that would ruin the party composition, which usually it doesn't. I mean, 99 times out of 100, it doesn't make a difference.
Very true.
And so it's like, please, go on ahead, do it, like, so yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. And then Dizzy Dwarf's final question is, now that the campaign is done, how do you feel? This one I think is mostly for Jess. Now that the campaign is done, how do you feel about your decision for Sagira to leave the party? What do you think her story would have looked like if she had stayed? And how do you think her ranger skills, combat experience, and animal companion would have impacted the party's ability to handle their post-Wati encounters?
I feel like it would have been a lot harder if Sagira had stayed and we hadn't had Hollis. We were really lacking that arcane magic piece.
The teleports did come in handy.
Yeah, I could think of a lot of situations that would have just been a lot more brute force and a lot harder. But that being said, I mean, it would have been kind of fun to have been Sagira fighting Hakatep, just because she's ridiculous and it would have been fun in a different way.
Okay, Narmer riding around on Isra
would be cute as heck.
The merchandising. The merchandise.
And it would be like Sagira, like you treating Narmer like a toy.
Where the real money from the podcast is made.
Yeah, Isra, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
have been weird.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Dizzy Dwarf, for your questions.
Thank you.
And our next one comes from Louis. This one has specifically to do with the Fated Tales, so our side story. Let's see here. And really the question is, what happened to the Fated Tales team after the AP ended? I know they went to hide the rock somewhere, but are they just its guardians now? So I think this sounds more like Jordan, Rachel, and myself, actually.
Yeah, because you guys are the ones that
Yeah,
went
we
to
just
hide
did
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Wolf and the Asp went to kill the Viper, so...
I mean, Sagira would probably help with that. So she might have tagged along to kill the Viper and say hi to her kind of girlfriend and wait around for Sudi to get back, hopefully not dying from that rock lady that we accidentally sicked on him.
You know, I think it'd be... This is my own personal thought process. But I think it'd be really interesting if those characters returned back to, Absalom and then, kind of a little bit separate since, again, two of them are Pathfinders and one of them's this, weird, occultist
Gang member?
spirits. Yeah, kind of set up a secret thing with the Dark Archive and
that's cool.
kind of set up their own little like paranormal investigation sort of group.
That's
like
cool.
this.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Jean-Louis, we have undead. Help. Help.
So I think
it's
that's kind of fun. Yeah. It's my own personal thought, It's like I don't like the idea of I don't know if I like the idea of the Pathfinder Society somewhere in the Dark Archive having, the Haunter of the Dark locked up in a cube. But
Well,
shining
I
triumphs of
I mean, they got a
Haunter,
bunch of other stuff in there, added on the pile.
But yeah, so I think that's, unless Rach, Jordan, either of you had something to add, but
I mean,
that sounds nice though. I like it.
Yeah.
there's a very good possibility Planchette would give the other two the slip and just wander off.
I mean, that's possible. I feel like
That's
Jean-Louis
fair.
is a little too responsible to,
Yeah.
peace out on the
Isaac
duty.
would stick around.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, and we're playing the good guys, so.
It's true. Ostensible good guys at any
Yeah.
rate. Let's see here. Next, I will acknowledge Liam did ask a question as well about Onuris' backstory. So I think we mostly covered that in an earlier question, but we do thank you for your question, Liam. So
Yeah, thank you, Liam.
Yeah, just
Great minds.
parts we didn't get to basically, which it sounds like we'd already kind of covered that.
Yeah.
So our next one though comes from Hess Zed Jim, who asks,
He's
so
Zed
if you were
Jim.
Either one.
That's the Jim. So if you were able to pull some timey-wimey shenanigans and go back to the beginning of running this AP, what parts of the adventure would you have focused more/less on? What kinds of things that were missed would you try to make easier or more likely to be found? Are there any parts of the adventure you would have changed if you could have made input on the books? And this is definitely not coming from the perspective of trying to steal any concepts or ideas for, my own uses.
I remember there was a discussion that we had as a group that the Tefu arc seemed to take a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I might have streamlined that a little bit so that it didn't feel like it took quite as long. I added a lot to that segment that wasn't necessarily in the book as written, so that might have been more me. Just kind of adding more NPC interactions and everything else, mostly because I wanted to get everyone to have a good chance to have a lot of roleplay before going out into the desert. Honestly, if the only thing I would have maybe changed in there is, especially when you're in the northern part of the Parched Dunes, is maybe having you go far enough north. There's an oasis city that's a big oasis city that's up there. And maybe somehow tying that in so the characters aren't quite as isolated. I know that that's a large part of being out in the Parched Dunes is getting across that sense of isolation. But that might have been something I would have adjusted a bit just because there's a long period of time where the group can't really buy or sell gear. Which can, of course, cause problems, as evidenced in other adventure paths that we've done.
Yep.
Is this about like things we would change in the book or things we would have just done differently?
I think this seems to be more about running the AP. I think this was mostly a
cool.
question for Rick. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you all had something that was like, I really think this part could benefit from changing somewhat, but
Nah, it's mine are all player choice.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned a few less cultists and like the Sightless Sphinx.
Yeah,
Personal preference.
Fair enough. But all right. Well, with that, thank you for your question. And next comes a question we have been asked frequently. This one was also asked by 3 different people on our Discord.
Oh boy.
Majuba, Fern, and Alex Rosen have all asked, and this one
What's
seems
in
to
that
be...
flippin' dance hall, man?
Yes, I think this one's mostly for Rick, but what's in the dance hall? What's there? What's there? We need to know.
It got flattened by a pyramid.
Don't care. What was in it before?
Book as written, it doesn't tell me.
All right.
Well, that's anticlimactic.
Book as written, it simply states that that there is a born a nameless slave to a Kelishite master in Tutra, a warrior who would be called Tahimtep. Won his freedom after saving the life of his master during a slave uprising. Ashamed that he had sided with his master instead of his fellow slaves, the freedman fled to Wati and took a new name, Tahimtep. He established a popular dance hall to help drown his guilt in the shallow pursuits of the flesh. But the plague of madness struck before the old warrior could find any peace. With inhuman strength and skin that reportedly turned aside iron blades, Tahimtep slaughtered his wife, children, and 24 patrons in the course of a single night. Local stories claim the authorities boarded up Tahimtep in his dance hall, fearing a confrontation with the lunatic, and other stories insist that he remains there even after centuries, immortal, insane, and forever singing the few songs his broken mind remembers.
So, if we'd gone inside, what would you have done?
In a fit of madness.
To be perfectly honest, I mean, the dance macabre would be kind of a fun thing, although at the time that you guys were there, that would have been a death sentence.
Oh, yeah, we would have done.
Yeah, we would have.
Well, there's reasons why you don't go into the dead city.
Right.
Honestly, I would probably make him some sort of undead. A white's maybe the first one that just springs to mind, because I know they're kind of rage motivated. And maybe a barbarian to get across that like skin turns aside blades.
Yeah.
White barbarian.
Although a skald would also be really interesting.
Because he sings the songs. Yeah.
If, do something where he has like a special thing where his barbarian rage still affects him despite being an undead creature, and freaks out and murders everyone while singing songs and all the rest of that would probably be a fun thing to do with it.
That would have been fun,
yeah.
We'll
So I think I would have
know.
probably gone that direction. I would have gone some sort of undead creature with either barbarian or skald.
Cool.
I like it.
But yeah, again, that's another one of those cases of like really, enticing the players with something creepy, again, akin to like what happened with the mirror version of Masika and all the rest of that, is sometimes not knowing is just as big of a motivator as knowing is.
Regardless, I'm gled we didn't go in either way. So
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like that's one of those moments where like Rick trusts that we're not going to go in there. To be honest, because like that's one of those like there's a really bad evil thing that's totally going to wipe the floor with you, and some parties are just like, sure, sign me up, boss. And we're not those players.
We're not those.
Yeah.
On second thought, let us not go to Camelot, for it is a silly place. And so with that, then our next set of questions comes from Majuba, and the first couple I think are really, again, more directed at Rick.
Okay.
So the first one is, what content, if any, from the Continuing the Adventure section did you consider using, or other plans you contemplated from your own mind for this adventure path?
Yeah, like I said, I considered using the Mekuare, Sphinx waking up, and I found that very interesting, which is why I teased it. They also have a whole thing about Olnot the Festering, basically getting back up and the party having to fight that.
Oh, jeez.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
But again, I can't remember. Is it Final Fantasy II, which is the one that has the you reach the end of it, it's like, we've been fighting the same villain the entire time, and then it's like, after you beat the final villain that you've been fighting to get to the entire time, out pops chaos or whatever it is.
Here's Final Fantasy 1.
That might be Final Fantasy 1. I might have been thinking about X-Death also.
A couple of them do something similar too, though.
I mean, there's also the X-Death thing, and
and I've always hated that in video games, where if I've been building up Hakatep this entire time to then just go, okay, well, let's do another 20 episodes or so where you guys are dealing with this other threat that's even bigger than Hakatep. It's just like, it kind of undercuts
the entire
that
story.
thing that you spent 222 episodes trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
It feels like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
That's
I always
very
find
Dragon Ball Z.
I always find the concept of the continuing the adventure to be very interesting, but the actual execution of it, it feels a little anticlimactic. Unless you can work it in earlier in the adventure by playing down the strength of something. Yeah. Or just going, hey, instead of it being this challenge rating 26 Sphinx, it's just an uber powerful challenge rating 18 Sphinx. So I can use the same story beats, but include it earlier in the story, so it's actually part of the adventure.
And then the next question for Rick is going to be, would you ever be willing to release the raw audio from a recording, say, of the finale, for that peek behind the curtain of how game runs sans edit?
It would not be family friendly.
No, it would be...
depending on the episode, it would very much not be family friendly, good lord.
My inclination is always no. And the reason behind this is that, for lack of a better term, I've only... Small anecdote here. I've only ever paid to be basically in the beta test of one video game before, and that was actually the Kingmaker game. And I realized when I was playing it, it's like it's early access or beta test or any of the rest of that. It's what I'm getting here is the worst version of this product, which isn't enjoyable. And while we do a great job, I think, as far as, all of you guys role playing, all the rest of that stuff, like obviously, obviously there are, tons of people listening to this, right? Dozens of people listening to this right now that agree with that. Putting out the raw audio is basically giving you the worst version of the product. And I know that there's some of that where it's like, okay, well, we're getting a much more authentic take on it, but my inclination is to just go, other than just EQing and balancing and all the rest of that, which I would do if I decided to release any of this, that going, let's hold on a second while Rachel is rolling all these things and adding up all the pips on her 15, D6 or whatever it was that she just bounced. And
let's sit here for the 10 almost 10 minutes of silence while we all Google for an FAQ, because does this spell work with this
how does this spell work?
Or the random times that we've got to take a call because something urgent's coming up, and now we've got to everybody sits for 5 minutes, 10 minutes while something's happening. There's a lot of that.
Somebody has dropped. Well, I guess we have to.
Oh yeah, the technical issues also. When people drop.
So yeah, I do think it would maybe be interesting for a couple of things, but as a whole, not really. Just because, again, it's the least good version of what we make.
Fair enough.
And I like to deliver a good quality, product to all of you. I mean, heck, the finale episode, while it was 2 hours and 20 minutes when it was released, was 3 hours. Over 3 hours whenever we recorded it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that ended up hitting the editing room floor was just like weird, side tangents or conversations. And I think Jordan had a contractor show up for his house reno at some point.
Yeah, that's weird. yeah, so that happened.
The fun behind the scenes things.
Let's see here. Yeah, of course. Majuba's next question, I think, is going to be more for everyone. Did anyone ever consider dropping out of the AP during its run, or more likely before committing to the next 4-year run? Because these APs do take a while. But
No.
Yeah. Dropping out specifically, no one came to me about that. We did have a number of conversations before deciding to undertake another adventure path. And again, a lot of that comes back to we have had an exceptionally successful Patreon, but this is a lot of work for all of us. And as such, while we love what we do here, and I know Jessica always makes the joke that, well, we'd be doing this anyway, as far as playing the game is concerned.
It's different.
Yeah.
It is different. Yeah. It's a lot more demanding. And so there was a time where we even considered, what do we want to do with the next one? Do we want to commit to another 6-book adventure path? And, after a long discussion, we basically decided, yeah, we do. Because we enjoy what we make and we love this community that has been built up around this. And so, we like having these interactions with all of you. And, again, we'd be doing this anyway. So,
yeah. And I think part of it is my coworkers ask me what do you do on the weekends? And, I tell them, hey, I do this podcast and I'm, recording it for up to 8 hours on a weekend. I say that happily, like with pride, that I do that. That's not like, oh man, I got to go record Find the Path again, man. That's just gonna ruin my weekend. Like, we enjoy. I personally I enjoy doing this. Like, I like doing this. I have fun with it. So, it's definitely been that. As far as like maybe dropping out of the next one, the only reason I'd be doing it is because of time. Just because it does take a lot of time to record 3 shows.
Which again, we had a conversation. It was announced recently in Hell's Rebels, that we are moving away from doing after parties. This will be the last after party, obviously, for Mummy's Mass, but we will also not be doing it for the adventure path that follows.
Yes.
And in large part, it's just because when we did the math on it, we basically went, we need to find time somewhere and something has to give. And that ended up being what we decided on. But no, I think all of you enjoy playing. We've had to make some changes on things and all the rest of that before in the past. Again, Ross wasn't part of Mummy's Mask because of time constraints and things like that. So
that whole real life thing.
Life.
But yeah. Let's see here. Majuba's next question is, early on, Rick mentioned planning to cut excess, duplicative, unimportant encounters. From what I can tell, other than random encounters in the desert, pretty much nothing was cut. Is that impression correct? Did you change your mind, decide that the flow was better as is, or just forget, maybe? I guess is the general question.
So I did cut a number of encounters. Heck, one of the big ones I cut was the only dragon fight in Mummy's Mask.
Oh,
Ended
what
up
was
being
that?
I was
fun.
thinking about that I was like, we never fought a dragon, but
there was a blue dragon fight that's in the book. It even has artwork and all the rest of that stuff.
I really expected there to be a dragon in Hakatep's pyramid. That one of the generals was going to be
there
like
was
a freaking
you.
dragon.
Heather was the dragon all along.
You were the dragon fight, Heather.
I was like, oh, we're going to get to the fireplace and the general's a flippin' red dragon. You know what I mean? Or something. You know what I mean? Because they're elemental. So, but I was kind of surprised there wasn't a dragon.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was one of the encounters that I cut. That, funny enough, I cut it and then I considered working it into the Fated Tales. And then I ended up deciding not to go. Because it was a neat fight. There was like a bunch of statues and then there was a dragon flying around. I think there was a clay golem or something that was also involved in the fight.
Wild.
It was a very interesting idea. It was whichever one of those golems gains powers from getting hit by lightning.
Oh,
so it was a fun like synergy sort of thing.
Nice.
Funny enough, for pacing stuff, there's when you guys did that riddle that the solution was a wall. And you guys got out of there.
Riddle.
There was supposed to be an advanced hollow serpent outside of that, which basically this big undead snake thing to try to eat you. And
I say no.
I wanted to finish this adventure path on episode 222, so I just decided chop.
That's fair.
Fair.
And it's not that it wasn't an interesting encounter. I mean, it's a very interesting monster. I haven't ever run a hollow serpent before, but it just didn't.
It sounds cool.
Yeah.
I feel like you have, actually.
No, they've been hollow serpent like.
Yeah.
Think of that bone
Okay,
snake
I could have
thing.
sworn we fought one or something similar to it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Last question
That
from
space ooze was dangerous enough. Anyway, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
No, you're fine. Last question from Majuba, and then you may not have the notes for this anymore, Rick, but how much protection of fire did Hakatep have left?
I think at one point it got down to about 6 points.
Oh, wow.
And then he stopped
recast
time and recast it while he'd stopped time with a quicken spell, because a sorcerer with quicken spell is
Rude.
chef's kiss.
Oh,
Yep.
it's so
You gotta
good.
take quicken spell when you're a sorcerer. You just gotta.
Also, time stops. So good.
So good.
All righty. Well, thank you, Majuba, for your questions. Our next one here comes from Caffeine Now. So thank you very much for your
sentiment.
questions. Yes. And this is not a repeat question, so no worries here. But curious about what happened to everyone's favorite of Syrian Nisoy, Kasim. And Tetmanib as well, I suppose. But Kasim was one of my favorite NPCs from the early books, and I'd love to know how her story turned out.
Yeah, we love her. What happened?
In that same vein, I'm also curious about what happened to Kelru and Azaz, whether they stayed with the Beacon or if they pieced out to go exploring on their own.
Conclusion. They actually are in the conclusion with Hollis.
Yeah. Well, and so's Qasim and Tepmanib.
okay.
They're in the when you guys were at the tavern at the end. I mentioned that they were there also. You didn't talk to them, but they're there also.
Yeah,
so.
They're in the. I think they're still serving as priests in Wati, and then
awesome.
Azaz and
our favorite couple
are hanging around with the super secret society.
Sacrosanct Order of the Blue Feather.
Yes.
Yeah. The club Hollis decided to join. She so acted like I'm just joining a club.
Oh, sure, I'll be on your little club. What are the rules? That's very Hollis.
The first rule of the order is you don't talk about the order.
Soon. Because they're all
Let's
humans.
see here.
Anyway.
Caffeine has one additional question. She asks, what were everyone's favorite abilities /spells /feats that they used in the AP? Any encounters that people liked or really, really did not like? And for Rick, what were your favorite encounters /opponents to run?
I like turning into a dragon.
Mage's Disjunction / anything to spell magic.
It's got to be my Righteous Might ability. I mean, that was like the best
That's
ability.
A good ability.
I used it almost every fight. It was the best ability.
Yeah.
Rich?
Probably dispelling things with sneak attack.
Yeah, the dispelling attack was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Abjuration is rad.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, for me, it might have the most interesting creature that I ended up running was probably the Moftet, just because they had sneak attack and pounce.
Yeah.
So
that is a good
just
combination.
A lot of fun. So we are coming up on the 2-hour mark.
I was about to say we have more questions, but honestly, we are also pushing a lot of time.
Ross,
here,
any great questions we need to just do real quick?
Oh, geez. Let's see here.
One word answer.
Here, I might be able to do a quick version of this. So,
go for it, Rick.
Tipnik asked, "Is there any one scene or encounter that I would love to have a do-over again?" Honestly, I didn't get to do enough with. Well, I was going to say, as far as the Gamemaster, I didn't get to do enough with General Towerwet.
No,
so that would have been fun.
I'm totally fine with that.
I don't feel bad about that.
Totally fine with that.
Barney Must Die at one that at one point Rick mentioned Neith possibly being the actual Osirian goddess Neith. So just wanted to know if that was true or not. My inclination is to say not.
Yeah, they're just
unless, just a kid.
If they are, they're dating my brother.
That's right.
That's true. So Renwald asked if the quest for Serethit's Atonement was beyond the scope of this adventure. If it had been a home campaign, would the Atonement quest have been played out in detail? My answer would have also been no. Even in a home campaign, I would have just been like, we finished the final boss fight. So
you did that.
Yeah, you guys did this thing. Let's see, any other quick short questions here?
I did see earlier in the chat somebody asking me if Narmer was named after the pharaoh, and yes, and people asking why Masika looks like a catfish, also from the name Narmer, which means the catfish king or the catfish pharaoh, so I just ran with that theme.
Yeah.
And because there was the question I saw in the chat, yes, she was an Undyne.
Yes.
Which is also why fish,
Yeah, fish.
Yeah. Nevermore asked what the biggest strength and weakness of this AP as written is. Honestly, I think the biggest strength is the setting. Osirian is such a fun, interesting setting. The biggest weakness is probably that middle book section when the party's out in the desert, is you get a lot of that feel, but it is so isolating that it can add to the feel of it, but it's the same problem that you run into in any adventure path that takes you far off the beaten trail. Serpent Skull immediately comes to mind also, with having difficulty restocking, resupplying.
It also runs into the one fight adventuring day, where it's like we are going to have one encounter basically for this whole day, so like everybody go all out. It's, we got plenty of healing, plenty of everything, so there's not the same level of kind of danger from being worn down from like multiple encounters in a day. That I kind of felt that section was a little, I don't want to say easy, but like less dangerous.
Yeah. We also had a question in chat asking if I'll publish my Hakatet flashbacks. I didn't actually, I had those bullet pointed. I didn't actually have them written out. So I am planning on publishing the collective Hakatet backstory that I wrote out.
Cool.
Just so that if anyone else wants to use that, there's lots of things that you can utilize there. So I think that'd be a lot of fun for people. Yeah.
All right. So shall we do the next part?
Yeah,
so I do think a number of you have probably been very patiently waiting for our big announcement as far as what we're going to be doing.
We apologize to we didn't get a chance to answer questions for, but I think our next announcement is something a lot of people have been very
Onuris as a Risen Guard is a question I've seen like 6 times in chat, though. So maybe a quick yes/no on that.
Yes.
I like to leave the door open for it. So, if that's something that Heather wanted, then yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
on Mama Nafra's detail,
are,
definitely on Mama Nafra's
detail. It'd be weird because he doesn't exactly love that pharaoh. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was kind of cool with Mama Nafra, though. Like, he could be cool with that.
Yeah. But I think
maybe that pairing finally worked out.
Maybe.
In my head, it did. So anyway, but now we have the announcement.
Yes, the announcement. Okay, very good.
All right. So we're not going to necessarily tell you explicitly. We're going to show you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to tell you for anyone that's listening to this.
Yes.
True.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Hello, everybody.
So for those of you listening at home, we're going to be posting a link to the video that we just showed down in the description for the episode. But we're here to officially announce that we are going to be playing the War for the Crown adventure path for our follow-up to Mummy's Mask.
Yeah.
And that video does have who we're playing in it as well, with amazing art that we had commissioned.
Alice Blake does some amazing oil-style art.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that almost doesn't do it justice. Like, they're beautiful pieces of art.
We'll post them
they
at
are
some point.
so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So,
and
of course, special thank you also
Ryan
to
Mumford.
thank you Mumford for the amazing music you always deliver.
Absolutely.
So
I've been humming it all week.
I know. I keep watching the video just to hear the music.
Yeah, it's very
so
nice.
we are going to be playing War for the Crown for our next adventure path. It's interesting because we looked at a number of different adventure paths and tried to figure out which one that we wanted to do next.
We talked, I think, almost about every single one we haven't played.
Yeah,
it's true.
I went through a plus and minus list on every one that we hadn't played. And so we decided early on that we wanted to stick with first edition. A couple of reasons behind that. One, we already have a second edition adventure path that we're doing, of course, with our conversion of Hell's Rebels. And two, there are so many good first edition APs. Mm-hmm. And we really wanted to have a chance to play some more of those, but converting things, much as some people may be aware from the delay in my getting my conversion notes out for Hell's Rebels, is a very time-consuming process. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of stories that we wanted to do, and also a lot of people that have signed on for this, for our main show, as far as Mummy's Mask are concerned. They signed on for a first edition adventure path. Mm-hmm. And so if you want a second edition, itch to scratch, then we have that over at Hell's Rebels. But we wanted to present something different here.
Yeah.
And I think I can probably speak for all of us when, I had some consideration, I had some reticence whenever I originally considered doing War for the Crown. It was always a story I was very interested in, even when it first launched and we just started doing Mummy's Mask. It was like, War for the Crown, though, back in 2018.
I died when they announced it.
Yeah.
It sounded amazing.
But it was so, and I know a lot of people made these commentaries pertaining towards, like, it's very much like Hell's Rebels. And the more I looked into it, I went, this is nothing like Hell's Rebels. So it plays to our strengths, which, as far as my player strengths are concerned, have always been their extraordinary ability to roleplay, to make these complex, in-depth characters. It also allowed us to present something that is vastly different from the other things that we do.
Yes.
Tyrant's Grasp is a beast unto itself, as far as, the story that it's telling, yes. And, as some people often like to call it. And Hell's Rebels is very much this underdog story of these, this scrappy collection of people trying to change their city and, overthrow the tyrannical government. And so for War for the Crown, we decided to do something vastly different. As you may have noticed from the trailer that we had there, everyone is playing a character, judging by, the prominent names there of Darahan and Kastner and Corsina and, Zespire and Maroset. They're all playing members of the noble families of Taldor. And so we decided to play a bit more with the theme of it being, let's actually play up, much as we did with Mummy's Mask by having everyone be these characters from Osirian, actually play up with these, let's have these nobles there, trying to aid Eutropia in taking the throne of Taldor. Also, I think on a last point is we did want to do an adventure path that had an impact. Mummy's Mask, of course, it has an impact as far as Osirian is concerned and is a story that we definitely loved. But one of the reasons that we decided to do Tyrant's Grasp is because it was the last adventure path coming out for first edition. And there's very few things that did not have the impact that Tyrant's Grasp did. And Hell's Rebels is a great story about, these underdog heroes trying to, free the city of
Cantargo.
Cantargo, thank you. I kept wanting to say Kelmarine for some reason. Legacy of Fire. We wanted to have something that has these long-reaching repercussions, and so our minds kind of went to, well, there's War for the Crown, and there's like Wrath of the Righteous, which Wrath of the Righteous would have also been a lot of fun, but there is a video game out already that you can play through the events of Wrath of the Righteous. Many people already know the story for that. Doesn't make it any less of a great adventure path to play.
True.
And then, the whole hurdles of dealing with the mythic rules and bouncing back and forth. But not only are we playing first edition and second edition, but we're also playing first edition with the mythic rules. So, no, I've always been very excited for War for the Crown. And I think that it is going to be a phenomenal story for everyone here just because it really plays up this group's ability to make these fun, engaging, interesting characters, where I sat down with all of them and just said, hey, make these characters. And even though it's a themed AP where all of them are everyone's playing a human, everyone's playing a noble, they all have a very similar background that they came to me with 5 extraordinarily distinct characters. And I say 5 because, as many of you probably noticed from that trailer as well, Ross is going to be joining us for War for the Crown.
Should be fun. I'm glad I get to join the main show.
Yeah, which that does, in case anybody is curious, does mean this will still be a weekly show.
Yes.
That is true. It is going to be a weekly show. Yep. We are taking a brief hiatus. We are going to be taking off the next 6 weeks, and this is going to be launching at the very beginning of 2023. So January 3rd, you'll have 3 episodes in your feed, so you can get to know these brand new characters. So how about we do a little quick roundtable, and during our announcement here, we of course get to find out more about these characters once the actual story comes out with. Everyone talking just, I guess, a brief overview of what you're going to be playing. Nothing in backstory or anything else, the rest of that at the moment. But Jess, you want to start us off?
Sure. I am playing Baroness Verity Augustine Corsina, who is a warrior poet samurai, Order of the Scales, that I based a lot on Alice Roosevelt. That's what I'll say.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, samurai, I wanted to do a cavalier that didn't have a mount, and I wanted to do... I'm looking for classes I haven't played, and I'm looking for classes that add something or make it, there's a little bit of a twist or a challenge to them. And so warrior poets don't wear armor, but they're frontline characters. So I was like, that's kind of weird. So That's what we're doing. That's what we're rolling with for me.
All right, so I am.
Jordan, that would be
I was gonna say.
I was expecting you to call somebody's name.
I thought he was gonna call too.
We
So
go in the same order as always.
Anyway.
y'all.
I apologize. Jordan, why don't you go next? Tell me a little bit about your story.
Yes. So I am going to be playing Baron Cornelius Ignatius Mariset. And I am going to be playing an Arcanist, which anybody who's seen me play Kingmaker or any of that, on the Twitch streams knows I love a good Arcanist. Perfect blend of wizard and sorcerer, because why choose? And something that I've always wanted to play all the way to highest level and never gotten to. So, because I only made it to book 4, I think, in Strange Aeons. So I'm really looking forward to high level play with like arcane exploits and things.
Awesome. Heather?
So I am playing Viscountess Gwynweaver Sigrun Kastner, and she is a Skald who is a lay priest of Regathiel.
Nice.
So I'm excited. I haven't played a Skald before, so it'll be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be a fun change of pace. The whole Regathiel angle.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Many of our Pathfinder
man.
Society players out there may recognize the Kastner last name.
True.
They're somewhat famous or infamous, if you will. Rachel?
Oh, Rachel's the reason that we're having to take the 6-week break. But I'm
had
playing
a little
Countess...
injury to your shoulder, yes.
Yes, I had to get
Thank you for being
surgery.
such a good sport and power.
Yes, we appreciate it.
I know, so if I have been quiet today, it's because I'm on some pretty good painkillers, so I'm a little...
it finally came out. I didn't know if we were going to mention
a little
that.
out of it. Well, I didn't know
She
if
was
people
rolling her
noticed
dice
yet.
way too hard.
I wish.
It's that massive stack of D6s for that sneak attack.
Yeah, we had to get her a new monitor
Last
too.
fight, Agatep really
Too much
took her
sneak
out.
attack.
It's a
But
workplace injury.
I will be playing Countess Felix Averell Evangeline Zespire, and I will be exploring the altruistic version of a Cleric of Abadar.
She's gonna try to change my mind, y'all.
Abadar.
I am also following Abadar in this.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
We're having some weird things occur in this AP.
Yeah, we're stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
And Ross
Okay,
joining us in this,
my
this
turn.
widely available feed.
Woo! All right, so my character is going to be Count Oliver Darhan, a former captain of the Taldan Phalanx, who is a magus. So I am very much looking forward to playing a magus. I do love the class. I haven't really gotten to play one in depth for very long, so this should be a lot of fun. I went with the Myrmidark magus, so kind of a bit more of a fightery flavor, since I figured we could use somebody who also can do like the range spell strike, which I always thought was a lot of fun as well.
Cool.
So should be entertaining. And again, thank y'all for having me along. So
nice. So
I think Rick is GMing it or something.
Yeah, probably.
I will
Something
be
like that.
everyone else.
Yep, that's true.
So yeah, we are very excited for the new War for the Crown. Of course, you guys got to hear the what's going to be our outro music for that whenever we played the trailer just earlier. And we have a lot of fun things prepared for this next year. Not just in the form of War for the Crown, which again I think I teased before that I'm going to be trying a couple of new things with this. And so keep your ears out, I suppose, more than your eyes out, since it is audio only podcast format. Since it will still, of course, be podcast, first and foremost. As much as we do enjoy these live experiences, the podcast format is what we mostly focus on. That being said, we do hope to do a couple more live shows and everything else in the year to come. So stay tuned for that as well.
Indeed.
So yeah, I don't really have a lot else. I don't know if there are any questions out there in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer a few of those pertaining towards this. But
yes,
looks
I
like we got a
imagine
couple.
for our East Coast folks, it's getting a little late for you guys.
Yeah,
It's true.
That's what the VOD is
A little
for.
bit.
That's true.
But we did have somebody request if we could play the trailer again just for fun. I don't know if we have time for that. But...
I don't know if you can cue that up again.
How about
Jordan?
we play that trailer for an outro? We can do the trailer for the outro.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I like that.
Are there any companions in War for the Crown? I don't think so.
No,
we might have
nobody took
dogs
anything.
just to have.
Yeah. Like pet dogs,
Not like
but I don't think anybody has an animal companion or anything.
Yeah, you gotta have dogs.
No. I'll probably get to play a number of exasperated like wait staff and things like that. It's like, ugh.
Do we get to have ladies in waiting and
wave it
attendants
around
and
a little?
Stuff?
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe we'll see.
Somebody did ask have you all had a pyramid cake yet?
No.
I want a pyramid cake.
We did not.
I want cake.
Pyramid cake.
You should have a pyramid cake.
We did have a delicious cake that was it wasn't a pyramid cake, it was a nothing bundt cake.
It was good.
Yes.
Yes.
There is that.
I do love
another
Is anyone
question.
gonna get slapped with a glove? Definitely.
Yes.
Probably.
I hope so.
I am playing a samurai. I'm gonna slap people with gloves a lot. Which is not really a samurai thing, but it's a cavalier thing, but whatever.
A Herban hunter with a hawk would be fun, though. Somebody who does falconry, that would be a lot of fun.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
But, yeah, not the path we're
character.
taking at this point. So,
Yep. Backup character ideas.
So, in answer to one question that was thrown out there, yes, we are going to have a YouTube link for the trailer as well.
Yes.
If you want to look at that a little bit more in depth. I probably watched that trailer like 15 times. It's
Yeah,
Like I said,
Thank
I
you for putting that
keep
together,
watching
Jessica.
it for the music.
I put it together,
Mumford
and so
to
I've
make
seen
that
it
like
so
a-
many times.
I was going to say, Jess put that together, y'all.
Tell
Yeah.
Mumford to make it a longer track. So
Yeah,
we
tell him
can,
to add more to
have
it.
a listen.
We need an extended
Right.
version.
Hear it,
You'll
you know?
you will get to hear some more Mumford originals in the upcoming, since he is also providing with some
I'm sure
some
we'll have
additional
like a
background
ball
music as
scene
well.
or something. So we need like a full on like bard rendition.
Yeah,
there you go, full
I
orchestral.
demand it.
Yep. But yeah.
All right. Are we ready to outro with the trailer one last time?
Yeah, one more time.
think
The
so.
trailer.
So, well,
Thank
I suppose
y'all for coming and hanging out with us.
Yes.
well, not just that, but also thank you for following us for 222 episodes of Mummy's Mask
Of
Excitement.
shenanigans.
And
So
thanks
many
for backing us on Patreon,
Yeah, all of our
subscribing
patrons.
on
Thank
you so
Twitch,
much.
cheering on
We've seen
Twitch.
a huge surge of Patreon support after the finale for
And
Mummy's Mask,
while
and we
the
greatly
main
appreciate
feed
that.
is on hiatus until January 3rd, Hell's Rebels and Mummy's Mask are still coming out.
No,
You mean
not
Tyrant's
Mummy's
Grasp?
We won't, Hell's Rebels and Tyrant's
Tyrant's
Grasp.
Grasp.
God.
but wait, there's more.
There's more.
I will point out, I'm usually the one that trips up when I say that. And so in my
Yeah.
brain this entire time, I'm like, say the next AP, say the next AP. Don't say War for the Crown like 20 minutes into this thing.
That would have been
So,
fantastic, and
but,
people
yes.
would have died.
Spoiler, quick, Jordan,
So
play the
you
trailer.
will still have two shows to listen to us, and hey, here's another 220 episodes for War for the Crown.
True.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
curious. It's just
For
a small
Taldor.
anecdote. I am
For
very
Taldor.
for Taldor.
Get ready to hear that
I'm
a
very
lot.
curious whether or not the roleplay centric nature of War for the Crown means that there's going to
Could
be.
be even longer.
Is it going to be longer or shorter? I'm like,
yeah.
there'll be fewer combat encounters probably.
That's true.
but
That
will
means
the
we
With a
can
lot of
roleplay
talking.
more.
Roleplay.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
we're
but
playing
we know how to
nobles,
talk.
So
Everything's going to be a
Yeah.
little extra.
yes. Yes.
But yeah, so thank you so much, of course, to all of you for joining us for this
Yes.
amazing adventure. Thank you so much to our patrons who made it possible for us to even continue once the pandemic began and we had to buy all
Yeah.
sorts of new equipment. And who continue
Absolutely.
to support us now. If you have not supported us on Patreon, maybe consider giving it a shot. You got 6 weeks. That's plenty of time for some 80-something episodes of Tyrant's Grasp that's over there. So
Yep.
Yeah.
always fun.
And you get some other cool stuff.
Also-
It's true.
Depending on what tier you sign up for.
This show will be on the Mummy's Mask feed. It's going to be on the same feed.
Yes, it is going to be the
Yes.
exact same feed. It is going to continue. You'll have Mummy's Mask there, and you will have this as well. So, more likely than not, eventually Mummy's Mask will retire from that feed, and we'll just kind of make an archived feed for it. But that's not going to be anytime soon because I know that there's a lot of people still working their way through Mummy's
Yes.
Mask
Yes.
right now. Amazingly, we had some people that we reached the 200 and teens somewhere, and they're just like, I'm going to binge all 200 something episodes.
It was
they
great.
did.
Yeah. Y'all are
Congratulations.
amazing.
Your
Yes.
dedication is phenomenal.
Congratulations to Rick and the crew again for such an amazing job. I mean, y'all did great.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. We worked
Oh,
hard.
thanks, Ross.
Thank you. We worked hard.
Yes, thank you. We work hard.
Yeah.
I don't remember
And-
who told us that phrase, but I will tell you, I
it's a
use it
great
in every
phrase.
facet
Great
of my life now.
phrase.
It is. Yeah, it's a great phrase.
I
It's
used it at
true.
work too.
I do use it at work, yeah, which I'm not at right now, but
Well, you know.
I mean, I do work hard
So,
at that too, I guess.
So much like Fulto, leading the group, leading Sitra away, you can all follow us over to Taldor and join us with the new
Yes.
adventure. So
Yes.
very
For
much looking
Taldor.
forward to that. For Taldor.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
How many,
So,
how many times
yeah.
are we
Gonna
going to
be
say
to
that in
know
this new AP?
Osiris is
Oh, it will
apparently
be.
for Taldor.
For Taldor.
That's basically the Taldane equivalent of YOLO.
Oh, my.
Kevin from
So,
Daggermark apparently told us that.
thank you,
awesome.
Kevin.
Thank you,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
So, yeah, I suppose with that, thank you all for joining us for this entire
Yes, thank you so much.
amazing experience. I hope that you will continue to join us for this next change of scenery, change of story, and change of, change of title at the very least, as far as the main show is concerned. And until next time, good luck, Pathfinders.
Bye,
All right,
Pathfolk.
Jordan.
Bye,
Take
Path.
care.
And also, here's the trailer again.
Cue the trailer
Yeah, roll
one
the
more
trailer.
time.
Yeah.
Outro.
Cue the trailer.
Outro. Ba-da-da.
Jordan's like, hold on.